Who knows if it was a nice day or not, but the apocalypse crashed down just like that. This young man was originally just an ordinary college student, but strangely enough, he adapted incredibly well to this withering world. 20 years passed, and Duan Fei still carried the heavy regret of his little sister sacrificing herself for him on the very first day of the apocalypse. In his final moments, unleashing all his power against a horde of zombies and preparing to reunite with his sister in the Yellow Springs, Duan Fei was unexpectedly reborn to the time before the apocalypse. He would never forget that the apocalypse began in the early morning of December 21st, 2012. That meant from now until the end of the world, there were only a dozen or so hours left. This time, the apocalypse showed no warning signs. It just suddenly arrived. In just one short hour, it destroyed the entire globe. More than half of humanity was turned into zombies. Animals also mutated into monster beasts. And when other living creatures were bitten by zombies, they would also turn into their kind. Duan Fei had been granted a precious chance at rebirth. So, he absolutely could not sit back and wait for the Reaper to take the two siblings away. The most important thing after the apocalypse is material supplies. Back then, a single packet of instant noodles was worth more than several human lives. Therefore, the first thing he needed to do was stockpile food. Duan Fei went to a nearby supermarket and practically swept away all the necessary provisions. He even hired a truck to transport the goods back. After loading the truck bed full of supplies, Duan Fei jumped into the cabin. The driver burst into laughter and teased him the moment he saw him. "You're really playing big, kid. My entire truck is stuffed full with your stuff. So, where do you want to go?" "Theta Euros, right?" Duan Fei answered seriously. But of course, the truck driver didn't believe him. He just thought the kid was a weirdo. In peacetime, you can buy whatever you want at any time, yet he went through the trouble of hoarding food. Duan Fei didn't intend to argue with him. After all, this driver couldn't imagine what would happen in just a few hours. Until he saw a family photo hanging on the rearview mirror. The driver happily showed off his beautiful wife and his 3-year-old daughter. Today was even the little girl's birthday. It was just a pity that to make a living, he had to try and run a few more orders today. So he couldn't go home early to celebrate his daughter's birthday. Duan Fei fell into deep thought for a long while. At 6 in the evening, after the driver helped him move all the goods into the house, Duan Fei pulled him back. "Driver, wait. This box of cakes is for you. I saw that your daughter in the picture really likes this brand." Not only that, Duan Fei generously paid the driver double the fee, then told him not to take any more orders and to hurry home to celebrate the birthday with his family. "Listen to me. Go home right now and don't go out anymore. Protect yourself and your family well." The driver drove back home. On the way, he kept wondering about the words Duan Fei had just said. He had intended to go back, but halfway there, his phone received another order. So, in the end, he didn't listen to Duan Fei. At 8 o'clock that night, Duan Fei had finished preparing some crude weapons to fight zombies. He also had to prepare a map, because after the apocalypse, the internet would be unusable. Phones would be no different than bricks. Duan Fei was so engrossed that he didn't notice until Duan Xinyue came over to call him. At this moment, the room was pitch black. The girl flipped the light switch while grumbling. "You'd best explain this clearly to me. What is this pile of stuff filling up the house? It's a complete mess. And another thing, I got a notification that you used up all the savings in our house. What on earth are you trying to do?" Duan Fei was scolded by his little sister so fast he couldn't get a word in, but even so, he had to silently take it. He waited until she finished scolding him before bringing up the matter of preparing for the apocalypse. But Duan Xinyue naturally didn't believe him, and even thought her brother had gone crazy. He didn't intend to explain further to her. After all, in just a few hours, Duan Xinyue would know immediately whether he was truly crazy or not. "Xinyue." Duan Fei suddenly stood up and threw the window wide open. The beautiful city night view appeared before their eyes. While you still can, try to enjoy this fresh air and say goodbye to the era of peace. Seeing him so serious, Duan Xinyue didn't call him crazy anymore. It was just that she felt her brother was truly acting too strange today. While they were still admiring the night view, Duan Fei's expression suddenly darkened, because that thing was coming. The so-called first wave of the apocalypse would last continuously for 1 week. Within this week, nearly 90% of humans on Earth would turn into zombies or die. And the lucky survivors who made it through these 7 days of hell would undergo a comprehensive evolution process. Duan Fei didn't know if anything had changed after his rebirth, but he truly hoped that he and his sister would be among the lucky 10% of humanity that survived. Time continued to pass. It was now midnight. There were still quite a few people on the streets below. Among them was a slightly chubby office worker who had just come from a drinking party. It was midnight, yet his boss was still texting him to go back to the office for overtime. This made him, already slightly tipsy, even more irritable. Not far away, a stray dog was growling incessantly. The guy immediately threw the empty liquor bottle in his hand straight at its head, cursing continuously. Even a stray dog dares to laugh at me? The country is unlucky to have you. I'm not in the mood. After venting his anger on the dog, the guy turned away, preparing to return to the office to continue being a corporate slave. But before he could leave, the dog suddenly lunged at him. The guy realized something was wrong. More precisely, that dog was not normal at all. But it was already too late. Fresh blood splattered everywhere, splashing onto the phone with those unfinished text messages. The streets quickly descended into chaos as zombies appeared in droves. Duan Fei and Duan Xinyue, from their high floor, saw the entire scene through the window. "Brother, what is that? Why are they starting to tear each other apart?" the girl asked in fear. "They have all turned into zombies. The revelation of the apocalypse has officially begun." Duan Fei answered. Sure enough, everything happened exactly like in his past life. And at this moment, urgent knocking sounded from their front door. Following, there were miserable cries for help. Duan Xinyue realized it was Aunt Huang, their neighbor. Even this scene was exactly the same as his past life. Back then, it was Duan Xinyue who opened the door, letting Uncle Huang, who had turned into a zombie, enter. And Duan Fei was so terrified that he abandoned his sister to run away. While Duan Fei was lost in thought, Duan Xinyue quickly went to the front door and opened it. Aunt Huang saw her like she had grabbed a life-saving straw. But before she could let the woman in, the hideous face of the zombified Uncle Huang poked through, scaring Duan Xinyue stiff. "Brother," she called out to Duan Fei, trembling, her eyes already wet with fear. In that moment, Duan Fei suddenly remembered events from his past life. Once, he went on a zombie subjugation mission with a group, and Duan Fei was assigned to a squad with a senior named Qing. They were the rear guard. Theoretically, the high-level zombies would all be handled by the vanguard team, so they absolutely shouldn't have encountered any extreme danger. However, during that battle, 3 high-level zombies suddenly appeared, and Duan Fei's squad was ambushed. The combat power of high-level zombies was too terrifying. Their squad quickly fell apart. Duan Fei tried to fight until the very last seconds, while that guy named Qing just stood there watching. In the end, he turned his back and left, running away at full speed, abandoning Duan Fei alone. At that moment, he truly understood what it felt like to be abandoned. And he also understood how much despair and helplessness Duan Xinyue must have felt when she watched him run away back then. In this life, Duan Fei was determined never to let that tragedy happen again. The moment the zombie poked its head through the door, Duan Fei aimed precisely and hurled his homemade spear straight into its head. "Brother, Uncle Huang." Duan Xinyue was still sobbing, unable to speak clearly. Duan Fei held a dagger in one hand and placed the other on his sister's back to reassure her. "Uncle Huang has turned into a zombie, but rest assured, I won't let him hurt you. Listen to me, close your eyes. Everything will be fine very soon." Duan Xinyue squeezed her eyes shut. At this moment, Uncle Huang, who had turned into a zombie and had just been blinded in one eye by Duan Fei, lunged forward, reaching out his filthy arm to touch Duan Xinyue. But Duan Fei's sharp reflexes from experiencing life and death battles in his past life remained perfectly intact. He coldly raised the knife in his hand, and the zombie's arm was severed. Although blinded in one eye and missing an arm, the zombie was still incredibly bloodthirsty. This was just an early-stage outbreak zombie, so it had no intelligence, only acting on instinct. So for Duan Fei, who was fighting high-level zombies just half a day ago, he didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. Even though his physical constitution now couldn't compare to his past life, with years of combat experience, he could deal with this beginner-level zombie with his eyes closed. The weapon in Duan Fei's hand moved frantically, slashing at the Uncle Huang couple again and again, as if he were venting all the anger, hatred, and remorse from his past life onto them. It wasn't until Duan Xinyue tremblingly grabbed his shirt from behind that Duan Fei snapped out of it. "Brother, that's enough." Duan Xinyue's voice wouldn't stop trembling. Duan Fei threw the weapon in his hand to the ground, turned around, and hugged his sister tightly, gently comforting her that they were safe now. Duan Xinyue was still in shock, partly because Duan Fei looked too terrifying just now, and partly because the world had mutated beyond her imagination. "Don't worry, no matter what happens, I will always be by your side to protect you." Duan Fei patiently continued to comfort the girl. Just then, a strange voice echoed in his head. Eliminated 1 zombie. Gained 3 evolution points. Consuming 1 evolution point to unlock the system. Duan Fei jumped, pushed Duan Xinyue away, and looked around. Who? Who's talking? What's wrong with you now? Duan Xinyue was extremely confused. I heard a sound coming from somewhere. What sound? I didn't hear anything. Now it was Duan Fei's turn to be confused. Duan Xinyue didn't hear anything. So he was the only one who heard those words just now? Before he could clarify whose voice it was, Duan Fei suddenly felt a splitting headache. The vision before him gradually blurred, then went completely dark. Duan Fei woke up to the sound of dripping water. A faint blue light illuminated his vision. The surrounding scenery gradually came into focus. Duan Fei discovered he was standing in the middle of a divine temple, surrounded by giant statues. These statues suddenly opened their eyes. From their eye sockets, a sharp blue light radiated, all beaming straight into Duan Fei's forehead, carrying a massive amount of information. Because he received such a large amount of information at once, Duan Fei's head hurt like it was going to explode. His body was gradually enveloped by that blue light, painful as if someone were tearing him into pieces. But after this process ended, Duan Fei's body was reconstructed once again, becoming overflowing with vitality. Through the information just transmitted into his head, Duan Fei realized the thing in front of him was called the evolution tree. It evolved him through a system by improving his genetic code. Duan Fei could use this system to continuously improve his genetic code to become stronger. However, if he wanted to continue evolving, he had to pay a price called evolution points. Evolution points were earned in the process of killing zombies. For example, every time a low-level zombie was taken down, 1 evolution point could be obtained. These points could be used to strengthen the body, combat skills, survival skills, detection abilities, and so on. Now, the evolution system had been fully activated. Instead of hearing that strange voice in his head, Duan Fei saw a holographic window displaying information in front of him. Just now, activating the system had automatically consumed 1 evolution point. Now he had 2 points left. Duan Fei looked at the 4 attributes, strength, agility, detection, and spirit, and immediately knew what he should use them for. He still remembered the combat skills and experience from his past life vividly. But this body was too weak. So, Duan Fei immediately used the remaining 2 points to strengthen his strength. After strengthening, he could indeed clearly feel his power increasing. In this life, possessing memories from the previous life and gaining the help of the evolution system, it seemed the heavens truly wanted Duan Fei to live proudly in this apocalypse. When Duan Fei opened his eyes, he found himself sitting on the sofa, with Duan Xinyue sleeping on his lap. Feeling her brother stir, she immediately woke up. Then she threw herself at Duan Fei, tears streaming down her face. You finally woke up. You suddenly fainted just now, scaring me to death. It might be due to exhaustion. Sorry for making you worry. Duan Xinyue wept profusely. Duan Fei understood that because her legs couldn't walk, she had long developed a sense of dependency and inferiority. If not for Duan Fei, perhaps Duan Xinyue wouldn't know how to exist in this world anymore. I won't be in danger because I said I would always be by your side protecting you. So just rest assured. Duan Fei gently placed his hand on top of Duan Xinyue's head to reassure her. Only then did Duan Xinyue calm down a little. After waking up, Duan Fei immediately thought of ways to ensure his sister's safety. First, he had to clean up everything around them. The priority was the bodies of Aunt and Uncle Huang outside the door. Otherwise, they would attract even more zombies. But when Duan Fei opened the door, he discovered that both bodies had disappeared, and the blood trail from their bodies dragged very long down the stairwell. However, right now, it was teeming with zombies outside. Venturing out was too dangerous. So Duan Fei decided to go back inside, lock the door tight, and temporarily hold down the fort in there first. He went into the bedroom and opened the closet, wanting to find a new set of clothes. But the clothes in the closet didn't fit, and the colors were too flashy. Although reborn, his soul was still that of a mature man. He really didn't want to wear those gaudy outfits anymore. Thanks to the evolution tree reconstructing his genes, Duan Fei was now much taller and more muscular. His strength and experience from the past life could thus be utilized perfectly. Duan Xinyue saw him struggling in front of the closet for half the day and immediately understood the problem. She found a few sets of their father's old clothes and gave them to Duan Fei. Seeing her brother wearing dad's clothes, Duan Xinyue let out a long sigh. It's so chaotic outside right now. I don't know how mom and dad are doing. With something like this happening, I wonder if mom and dad are still okay. Her voice could hardly conceal her sadness. Duan Fei also began to ponder because of this. Since he was 10 years old, their parents had left them. Later, every year they received a large sum of money sent by their parents, but there was absolutely no trace of the two of them. In his past life, after the apocalypse struck, Duan Fei had also tried to find their parents. But he tried for 10 years without any results, and finally had to give up. In this life, Duan Fei guessed that he also didn't have the fate to meet his parents again, but he still had to find a way to comfort his sister. Don't worry, Mom and Dad will know how to protect themselves. For now, our safety is still the most important thing. Do you remember? Duan Fei had finished changing clothes and stepped out of the room. Duan Xinyue stared at him without blinking. She didn't understand why, in just one night, her brother had grown so much taller and bigger. Duan Fei didn't want to reveal the evolution system to his sister yet, so he just gave a vague answer to get it over with. Then, he wanted to go out for a trip. Duan Xinyue naturally didn't want to let him go, because the world outside was in utter chaos. But the real reason was that she was afraid. The world had suddenly turned like this, and Duan Xinyue couldn't walk. Duan Fei was her only family. She feared that if something happened to him too, her life would have no meaning left. Facing this little sister who was always afraid of everything, Duan Fei remained very patient. Every time, he used all his gentleness to comfort her, who told him to live his entire past life in regret for abandoning her. So in this life, he had to use all his strength to protect her. I'm sorry, Xinyue. Sorry for making you feel insecure. But I'm just going to patrol the situation in our building to see if there are any zombies left. If we don't clean up the surrounding zombies, we could be in danger at any time. Duan Xinyue was still not reassured. Duan Fei had to use the recent tragedy of Aunt Huang's family next door as an example for her to understand. He needed to do everything to prevent the two siblings from falling into that situation. Moreover, there might still be lucky survivors like them out there. At this time, every additional ally was a huge help to the two of them. Duan Xinyue thought for a while and finally agreed to let Duan Fei go out. But she made him promise to return before lunch. Duan Fei quickly agreed, took his sister's hairpin, and went out. The moment he stepped out the door, Duan Fei's expression changed completely. In his hand was a sharp combat dagger. Duan Fei's eyes were glued to the pool of blood from Aunt and Uncle Huang on the ground. His ears were also busy listening to strange sounds coming from downstairs. This building had 13 floors. The top floor had been locked for many years. That meant he had to clear out the remaining 12 floors. If the information the evolution tree gave him was correct, then right now, Duan Fei also needed to hunt a lot of zombies to gain evolution points. He secured the elevator on the 12th floor, then began following the stairs down to the 11th floor. Very quickly, Duan Fei encountered a zombie at the landing. This was a great opportunity to test his strength after evolution. Duan Fei tried putting all his strength into unleashing a strike. The result was that he was able to kill that beginner zombie with a single move, receiving 1 point. Currently, his strength stat was at level 2. To raise it to level 3 required 6 points. Agility needed 3 points for level 2, detection needed 2 points, while the spirit stat required a whopping 10 evolution points to reach level 2. In his past life, Duan Fei had heard about the effects of spirit power. In the apocalyptic era, the only way for humanity to fight against various mutated monsters was to awaken different abilities. Awakened ones had many distinct abilities, and among those strange powers, there was an extremely powerful ability, which was spirit. Once someone awakens this spirit ability, it means their power is enough to dominate a region, becoming an absolute peerless powerhouse. Based on his growth after reaching level 2, Duan Fei estimated that raising his spirit stat to level 2 would boost it 7 or 8 times 0, maybe even 10. But to awaken psychic abilities, that stat needed to hit at least level 10. Right now, he simply didn't have enough evolution points. So, Duan Fei had to shelve his psychic ambitions and focus on evolving strength, followed by agility and detection. Under the flickering lights, he descended the stairs 1 floor at a time. The next floor showed signs of struggle, making him even more cautious. Following a trail of blood into a bathroom, he saw a girl slumped in the bathtub. Her skin hadn't rotted or discolored. She looked like an unfortunate victim, not a zombie. Duan Fei relaxed his guardiero, but suddenly, a figure appeared behind him. No, to be precise, it was a zombie ambush. The monster opened its bloody maw, aiming to take a chunk out of Duan Fei. Luckily, his blade was faster, piercing straight through its throat. Duan Fei struck decisively, sending another low-level zombie to hell in exchange for 1 evolution point. He panted heavily from the tension. That was too close. He almost got taken out because he let his guard down. After clearing that unit, Duan Fei moved to the apartment opposite. If he remembered correctly, this was Uncle Lee's place. As he approached the door, someone inside was watching him through the peephole, weapon in hand. Is anyone there? Hello? Duan Fei asked repeatedly. If no one answers, I'm breaking the door down myself. It's so late, what do you want? The door cracked open, and a short-haired woman peeked out, her eyes filled with wariness. Sorry, I'm Duan Fei from room 1202. You must know that zombies have appeared in our world. To ensure my family's safety, I need to confirm whether this building is secure. I see, but my place is very safe. You don't need to check. I want to rest. The woman replied, trying to close the door, but Duan Fei blocked it. For Duan Xinyue's safety, he had to personally verify every single unit. So, half begging and half threatening, Duan Fei forced the woman to let him inspect the house. The apartment was clean. Indeed, there were no traces of zombies. Duan Fei looked at the wall, saw a family photo of 3, and asked, Do you live here alone? Where are your husband and son? My child was at tutoring, and my husband went to pick him up. They haven't come back yet. I'm so worried I can't sleep. The more she spoke, the more she trembled. You've looked around. Can you leave now? You barging in here in the middle of the night, covered in blood and holding a knife. It's terrifying. Duan Fei remained silent for a few seconds. But this house didn't even smell of blood. It was probably safe. In that case, he had no reason to disturb the owner any longer. Duan Fei turned to leave, but then he heard a very faint click coming from the bedroom. His nerves instantly pulled tight again. That sound came from the bedroom. Who else is in here besides you? The woman collapsed to the floor in terror, her face pale. The bedroom? There's no one inside. It's just me. It's probably just a stray cat or dog. Duan Fei sensed the woman was trying to hide something. So, even though it was rude, he decided he had to open that bedroom door and check for himself. The moment the door opened, the stench of blood assaulted his nose. When Duan Fei saw what was inside, he wasn't even surprised. A large man laid dead on the floor. More importantly, a child who seemed to have turned into a zombie was clutching the man's head. At the same time, he felt a surge of killing intent from behind. Instinctively, Duan Fei dodged to the side. What the hell are you doing? He roared as the woman tried to ambush him. But Duan Fei didn't have time to settle the score with her, because the child suddenly lunged at him. Its strength wasn't great, but its speed was terrifying. Duan Fei was knocked backward. Just as he picked up his weapon to fight back, the woman blocked his path. She didn't want Duan Fei to hurt her son. Wake up, will you? Duan Fei shouted anxiously, his eyes locked on the zombie child. That is not your son anymore. Right now, he's just a man-eating zombie. If we drag this out, both of us are going to die. The woman clearly refused to accept the truth, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't accept that her beloved son was a zombie. She stubbornly believed he was just Sekiyuro, that once a cure was found, he would return to normal. So I absolutely won't let you hurt my child. The woman spread her arms wide, shielding her son, refusing to let Duan Fei take another step. But while she was focused on Duan Fei, she didn't notice the monster she called her son lunging from behind. Duan Fei shouted for her to watch out, but it was too late. As pain flooded her body, the child's arm had already pierced through her chest. The woman collapsed instantly in a pool of blood. Duan Fei couldn't stand watching this beast tear into its own parent's flesh any longer. He charged with his dagger, but just as he was about to strike, the dying mother grabbed his ankle tight. Even after being attacked by her own son, she begged Duan Fei to spare him. He was just a 13-year-old boy. Sorry, I don't spare zombies. Once they turn, there is no way to become human again. The woman stubbornly refused to accept the truth. But her voice grew fainter, her consciousness fading away. Duan Fei helped the family of 3 reunite in the afterlife. Though he felt heavy-hearted, he knew he had to put his and Duan Xinyue's safety first. He couldn't leave any loose ends. The 11th floor was cleared. Duan Fei strung bells across the stairwell entrance to alert him if any zombies crossed the line. He continued down to the 10th floor. Right at the foot of the stairs, he encountered another zombie-uro, one with a massive physique. Duan Fei quickly recognized him as the bodybuilder from the 5th floor. Why was he here? Probably lured by the smell of blood. The moment it saw Duan Fei, the 8-pack zombie charged, wielding a large barbell. It wasn't as fast as the child, but its strength was clearly superior. Moreover, after turning into a zombie, its power had multiplied. Even though Duan Fei's strength was now level 2, he was absolutely no match for this muscle-bound monster. So, facing the first attack, Duan Fei could only dodge. The second strike was no exception. By the third time, before Duan Fei could even regain his balance from dodging, the zombie hurled the heavy barbell straight at him. Duan Fei couldn't dodge in time and took a direct hit. Blood began to stream down his arm. This time, he was up against a truly tough opponent. Duan Fei didn't dare relax for a second, because the enemy, with its overwhelming strength, looked ready to attack again. And there was an even more serious problem. The noise and the smell of Duan Fei's blood had attracted other zombies. Even more terrifying, one of them was a mutated dog. Before humans awakened their abilities, zombie animals were the most dangerous threat. Whether it was smell, hearing, or speed, they far surpassed humans. The bodybuilder zombie alone was hard enough. Now Duan Fei faced a pincer attack from two sides. The dog's sharp claws slashed out, carving a deep gash into Duan Fei's body. During the struggle, his blood continued to spill, dripping down to the floors below. Stimulated by the scent of fresh blood, the zombies in the building went completely insane. All their attention focused on the 10th floor, where the battle was raging. These low-level zombies weren't smart enough to coordinate a mass attack. But Duan Fei knew the commotion meant they wouldn't sit still any longer. He had to end this battle quickly against these two opponents. Otherwise, the situation would become impossible to handle. But honestly, taking down these two was a massive problem. One had strength that completely overwhelmed him. The other had terrifying senses and speed. Before him, the bodybuilder zombie attacked again. Wherever its fists landed, even reinforced concrete shattered into dust. Duan Fei seized a chance to counter, slashing a large wound across its chest. He thought this was a success, but the wound didn't weaken Euro, it only fueled the monster's rage. Seeing the enemy prepare to strike back, Duan Fei quickly jumped high into the air. As he fell, the zombie dog was already waiting with its jaws wide open. Luckily, Duan Fei reacted in time, landing perfectly on its snout, then using his agility to roll away to safety. After several close-quarters clashes, Duan Fei had to accept the truth. His current strength wasn't enough to kill these two monsters. He could only lure them as far away as possible from the 12th floor, where he and Duan Xinhua lived. Thinking this, Duan Fei turned and sprinted downstairs. But the 9th floor was already packed with zombies. Duan Fei cursed under his breath. He didn't think they would swarm here this fast. Behind him, the bodybuilder and the dog were closing in. In front of him, dozens of zombies blocked the path. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. Duan Fei gripped his weapon tight. Charging straight ahead was the only way to survive. At least the horde in front seemed much weaker than the bodybuilder. Duan Fei struck instantly, taking the head of the zombie directly in his path. Then, he glimpsed the bodybuilder preparing to throw the barbell from behind. Duan Fei seized the moment and ducked low. The heavy barbell flew over his head, smashing into 3 or 4 zombies, dropping them instantly. When the dust settled, the bodybuilder regained its focus and saw Duan Fei had vanished. Though it lacked intelligence, it could still vaguely track him by the faint scent of blood. Duan Fei had hidden in the apartment right next to the stairs. He had used the bodybuilder to kill several zombies, but he didn't get a single evolution point for them. It seemed he had to land the killing blow himself to get the points. That was one problem, but there was another. This was only the early stage of the Apocalypse Euro. Why was there such a strong zombie already? Based on its power, it was probably about to break through the beginner stage. While he was thinking of a plan, Duan Fei suddenly heard the door open. Not good. The two monsters had opened the door and entered the apartment. He hid behind a large cabinet, barely daring to breathe, but they found him anyway. Caught on the defensive, Duan Fei took a thunderous punch from his opponent. The punch was so powerful it smashed right through the floor. He fell from the 9th floor apartment straight down to the 8th floor below. Several zombies were already waiting in this unit. Although they were weaker than the bodybuilder, Duan Fei was exhausted and battered. A sense of helplessness quickly clouded his mind. Even after being reborn, was he still just trash? When he first came back, Duan Fei thought he could fix all his past regrets, but here he was cornered again. But as his eyelids grew heavy, the image of Duan Xinhua appeared before him. Duan Fei suddenly remembered his purpose in this life, to protect his sister and make up for the past, right? As long as Duan Xinhua was alive, he wasn't allowed to give up hope. Plus, he had the help of the evolution system Euro. The result had to be better than his last life. With that thought, Duan Fei sprang up and began slashing wildly. The zombies in front of him were quickly cut down. Duan Fei had 5 evolution points. He immediately used 3 to upgrade his agility to level 2. Then, he took the initiative to leave the apartment. The zombies outside lunged the moment they saw him emerge. There were 4 of them in total. With his newly upgraded speed, Duan Fei cleaned them up in no time. With the 2 remaining points, he upgraded his strength by another level, then charged upstairs. Meanwhile, Duan Xinyue, alone at home, suddenly heard a knock on the door. The knocking went on for a long time, but when she asked who it was, no one answered. Duan Xinyue remembered her brother's warning not to open the door for anyone. But the frantic knocking made her anxious. She feared Duan Fei was badly hurt, barely able to crawl back, and too weak to answer. So, after a mental struggle, Duan Xinyue put her hand on the handle, ready to open it. "Brother, is it you outside?" Duan Xinyue asked suspiciously one more time, but still received no answer. Yet, she decided to turn the handle anyway. The door barely cracked open when 2 zombies, stimulated by the scent of the living, lunged. Fortunately, Duan Fei arrived just in time, clearing the 2 obstacles in one sweep. Duan Xinyue, terrified by the commotion, thought it was the monsters and slammed the door shut. "Wait, Xinyue, it's me," Duan Fei hurriedly called out. "Brother?" Duan Xinyue was still skeptical. "Then why didn't you answer when I called you earlier? Those were real zombies just now, but I just took care of them." Hearing her brother's voice, Duan Xinyue finally felt safe enough to open the door crack. After confirming the person standing there was indeed her brother, she finally relaxed. But this wasn't the time for a happy reunion. Because the biggest threats hero, the zombie dog, and the bodybuilder hero were still alive. And now, they had chased him all the way to the stairwell. Duan Fei urgently told his sister to lock the door tight. No matter what she heard later, she must not open it. Duan Xinyue didn't fully grasp how critical the situation was, but hearing Duan Fei's tone, she obediently locked the door. Now, it was just Duan Fei against the 2 disgusting monsters. "Come on, I won't let you take another step forward." He pointed his weapon at them, declaring his stand. Provoked by Duan Fei's action, the zombie roared and stepped forward. But before its foot could even touch the ground, Duan Fei flashed forward with lightning speed, slicing off its left foot. "I told you, I won't let you take another step." Even though his speed had only increased by 1 level, the effect was significant. After severing the bodybuilder's foot, Duan Fei used his incredible speed to dodge the other beast. Leaping high into the air, he successfully landed on the bodybuilder's head, knocking it flat to the ground. But that victory was only temporary. Sure enough, the thing whose head he had just smashed stood up again, moving normal euro. Its speed hadn't even decreased. Truly unkillable. Perfect euro. He had only been dodging with speed so far. Now this thing would be the perfect test dummy for his strength stat, which he had just raised to level 3. As the bodybuilder zombie charged, Duan Fei thrust his knife forward with full force. The opposing momentum only added to the blade's impact. It buried itself deep into the zombie's chest. Seizing the chance, Duan Fei poured all his strength into a flurry of slashes, finally carving the monster into pieces. When the bodybuilder zombie fell, Duan Fei received 4 evolution points. He could finally relax his body a little. Duan Fei's mind settled. He knew he wasn't a useless coward who only ran away anymore. He had protected his sister. However, Duan Fei's current power was still not enough. Because soon, the zombies would enter a berserk evolution phase. Their physical abilities would undergo a massive transformation. So, Duan Fei needed to use this time to farm as many low-level zombies as possible for evolution points. Although he didn't fully understand the evolution tree or the system yet, it had undeniably made him stronger. That meant if he used the evolution tree correctly, combined with the knowledge from his past life, Duan Fei could completely change that tragic history. He could save Duan Xinyue and give humanity hope to survive the apocalypse. In a blink, it was afternoon. Duan Fei had cleared the entire building. He checked the courtyard outside the apartment complex. The iron gate was locked tight. Outside, only a single zombie was clinging to the bars. Duan Fei took care of it too. Now, the building was considered safe. He could finally go back, shower, and rest. While washing the blood off his body, Duan Fei opened the evolution system. He currently had 8 evolution points. It wasn't as many as he thought, but it was enough to raise agility to level 3 and detection to level 2. Duan Fei knew he couldn't stay in this old apartment forever. He had to earn more points so they could leave soon. Currently, his stats were Strength level 3, Agility level 3, Detection level 2, and Spirit still unupgraded. After showering, Duan Fei came out and saw Duan Xinyue sitting on the balcony. "Xinyue, what are you doing? Why aren't you sleeping yet?" Duan Fei asked. Duan Xinyue said she was too worried to sleep. Watching the news earlier, she saw warnings about an unprecedented disaster unfolding. However, they also claimed the spread had been contained and humanity would be saved soon. Duan Fei, however, didn't believe it. Even if he hadn't been reborn, looking at the streets filling up with zombies, it was hard to believe the situation was under control. Duan Xinyue also had a very bad feeling. That was why she couldn't sleep. Don't worry, this will be resolved soon. Duan Fei comforted her. And no matter what happens, I will protect you. What? Don't you trust me? Duan Xinyue shook her head repeatedly. The day before the apocalypse broke out, her brother seemed to transform into a different person, maturing overnight. But Duan Xinyue herself was terrified. She couldn't walk, let alone help Duan Fei. She only forced him to protect her. She feared her brother would get hurt or never return. Yet aside from staying home, praying, and waiting, she could do nothing. This only made Duan Xinyue's mood worse. Don't worry, Xinyue. Who knows, you might even get the chance to stand up again. How is that possible? You don't need to comfort me. My legs can never be cured. But this time, Duan Fei was speaking from the heart, not just comforting her. Because if Duan Xinyue could awaken an ability, there would be a chance to walk like a normal person again. Furthermore, there would be a meteor shower tonight Euro, the night humanity would transform. In his past life, after the so-called revelation, the zombies began to evolve. And that revelation was the direct consequence of this meteor shower. Just as Duan Fei thought this, he heard Duan Xinyue cry out, "Brother, look, something in the sky is glowing." So it had arrived. The origin seed Euro, the thing that would change human destiny. It looked like an ordinary meteorite or shooting star, but this origin seed, falling from the sky, emitted a unique energy. This energy would diffuse into the bodies of nearby zombies. Once a certain amount of origin seed energy accumulated in a zombie's body, it would crystallize into a gene core. And using a gene core was the key to forcibly awakening abilities in humans. Additionally, a small number of humans could directly absorb the origin seed's energy to unlock their powers. Duan Fei felt that if he could utilize this to awaken the majority of humanity, the force resisting the zombies would become stronger, potentially turning the tide. A majestic and terrifying scene, straight out of a Marvel movie, unfolded before the siblings as origin seeds fell like rain, crashing into skyscrapers and causing massive explosions. One was heading straight for their building, but it ended up landing quite a distance away. Using binoculars, Duan Fei determined the landing spot was not far Euro, about 16 kilometers. Based on his level 3 agility, it would take about an hour to run there. Duan Fei decided to get some sleep and set out early tomorrow to retrieve the origin seed energy for his sister. Just as he was tidying up to go inside, Duan Fei noticed the can of Coke Duan Xinyue was drinking had frozen solid. This made him suspect that the origin seed had already begun to directly affect his sister. If that was true, then this was actually a good thing. Who knows, she might really be able to stand up soon. The next morning, Duan Fei woke up early, fully equipped and ready to leave the house. Duan Xinyue's reaction was the same as before. Hearing they had to go out again, and out of the apartment complex no less, she was incredibly worried and didn't want to let him go at all. But because Duan Fei said this trip was crucial Euro, not just for her, but for all of humanity Euro, she had no way to keep him home. You Euro LL be able to stand soon, Xinyue. Just be patient a little longer. You keep saying things I don't understand. Compared to standing up, I Euro D rather you be safe. Duan Xinyue's voice was tiny, almost inaudible. Can you please not go? Duan Fei shook his head, then placed a walkie-talkie he had taken from the security room into his sister's hand. He instructed her that it worked within the complex, so he would use it to contact her when he returned. Aside from him, Duan Xinyue was not allowed to open the door for anyone. He knew his strange behavior since the apocalypse began made Duan Xinyue think a lot. But right now, even if he explained everything, she wouldn't believe him. So he could only wait until she awakened her ability and understood everything herself. Duan Fei was also conflicted. In this apocalyptic world, he should have stayed by his sister's side, protecting her every step. But because reality was cruel, Duan Fei had no other choice. He had to take the risk to become stronger. While descending in the elevator, Duan Fei suddenly received a transmission from his sister. It sounded like she was crying. "Brother, can you hear me? I Euro am sorry for getting angry at you earlier. You Euro clearly risking your life to protect me. Yet I complained. I Euro am sorry." Of course, Duan Fei didn't blame his sister. It was her first time experiencing such horrors. It was hard to avoid losing control of her emotions. Before he knew it, the elevator had reached the first floor. Duan Fei was about to sign off when Duan Xinyue asked him to check his pocket. Duan Fei did so and found his sister's familiar hair clip. Don't forget our promise. You have to come back before dark. Thank you, Xinyue. I will definitely keep my word and return before dark. The elevator doors opened, and Duan Fei stepped out boldly. However, his heart was actually in turmoil. Saying he wasn't worried would be a lie. After the Origin Seed bombardment last night, the city had turned into a desolate ruin. In the daylight, zombies were less active, with only a few attracted by the Origin Seed's power. Duan Fei moved through the streets without daring to make loud noises, fearing he would attract zombie Acero, or worse, mutated beasts, which would be a death sentence. But what you fear most comes quickest. As he passed a car, a zombie inside ambushed Duan Fei unexpectedly. Instinctively, he leaped back. But the car behind him also held a zombie. Duan Fei was forced to jump onto the car roof to temporarily dodge attacks from both sides, then drew his weapon, ready to fight. In the distance, 2 gunshots rang out a Eurobang. Bang. Uncle Lee, how is it? Finished. Yeah. Report to Captain Xia immediately. The zombies in the west have been cleared. It turned out Duan Fei wasn't the only one who had ventured out of the shelter. Before him, others had already formed a fully armed squad to deal with the zombies. It was just that they didn't possess Duan Fei's apocalyptic knowledge, so facing the situation, they couldn't help but feel panic. Especially after last night's meteor shower, the number of zombies on the streets had visibly decreased. The news from a man called Uncle Lee was quickly relayed to the command center. The person in charge was a beautiful woman named Xia. Upon hearing the report, Captain Xia ordered Uncle Yahello's group to patrol thoroughly again to ensure no zombies remained. But alongside that, there was another problem. Captain Xia was currently ensuring the safety of 2 men, one of whom was a fat man called Boss Wang, who was making a scene. How long do you people intend to keep us in this dump? Escort us back to the company immediately. The man named Huang was smashing things and shouting, giving Captain Xia a massive headache. She walked over, grabbed him directly by the collar, pulled him close, and began to threaten him. You'd better understand the current situation. I'm a police officer, not your private bodyguard. In these conditions, going out there means death. If you want to survive, shut up and listen. Everyone here follows my orders, got it? Under her pressure, the fat man was scared pale. Only when a young man accompanying Boss Wang spoke up to mediate did Captain Xia let go. Afterward, she asked her assistant, Ling Wenwen, to contact Old Lee again, as she was very curious why the zombies had suddenly left the area. In truth, Old Lee didn't know the specific cause either, only guessing it was related to the meteor shower last night. If Captain Xia needed, he could go to the impact site to investigate. But after weighing the situation, she felt the 2 of them were in danger, so she ordered them to return quickly and wait for headquarters support. Meanwhile, Duan Fei was still pushing forward alone. Along the way, he spotted quite a few zombies. This meant the Origin Seed was very close. Duan Fei couldn't avoid the zombies in front of him, so he had to take them down quickly to avoid alerting the others. After speeding up and eliminating 4 low-level zombies blocking his path, Duan Fei finally found the crater emitting powerful Origin Seed energy. At his current speed, 2 seconds would be enough to reach it. But Duan Fei had too little information about the scene. Approaching blindly would be too dangerous. He needed to scout the situation carefully before acting. So, he jumped onto the rooftop of a building right behind him to get a vantage point, taking out his binoculars to observe closely. Lying in the center of the crater was an irregular object. In all likelihood, it was a pure Origin Seed. Duan Fei thought in all likelihood, because he never had the chance to see one with his own eyes in his past life. Inside that same pit, right next to the Origin Seed in the center, was another zombie. But it seemed uninterested in the Origin Seed. Duan Fei observed deliberately. But after waiting for half the day, that zombie still paid no attention to the Origin Seed, appearing as if it were just trying to climb out of the hole. Duan Fei began to lose patience. If he dragged this out, that zombie might absorb the energy and evolve. Moreover, the number of zombies surrounding the area was increasing. Once night fell, they would become even stronger. Actions would be much harder then. He decided to make his move. He would snatch the Origin Seed and retreat immediately. Duan Fei charged in at top speed, bypassing the horde of zombies gathering around the crater. In his hand was a homemade spear. He intended to eliminate the female zombie in the pit first. However, something Duan Fei hadn't anticipated happened. When his spear struck the female zombie, it instantly shattered into dozens of small fragments. Hello, valued customer. For here or to go. The female zombie turned her head, mechanically repeating phrases she used to say as a human. Duan Fei felt the hair on his body stand on end from the tension. Just one look was enough to tell this zombie was far from normal. Especially the tattoo-like markings around its arms and thighs. They looked incredibly abnormal no matter how you viewed them. The female zombie grabbed the tip of Duan Fei's spear and whipped it violently to the side. Since he was gripping the other end tightly, he was inadvertently flung along with it. The moment Duan Fei hit the ground, vines suddenly erupted from the earth. Fortunately, his reaction was fast. He immediately drew his dagger and severed them all. Whether it was speed or attack style, this zombie was completely different from the ordinary ones. Duan Fei was almost certain of his deduction. His opponent this time was a primeval zombie. Primeval zombies possessed unique attack abilities. Over time, their strength and speed would upgrade multiple times, making them like machines born for combat. Duan Fei observed his opponent closely. Pitch-black eyes with golden pupils. This was definitely a primeval zombie. In his past life, he had encountered this type of zombie, and it had been the stuff of nightmares for him. Although he didn't understand why it appeared here in this life, he had no time to clarify that mystery. Because the female zombie was charging again. Its speed was so fast that even a mutated beast like the zombie dog couldn't keep up. This was clearly absurd. Why would such a powerful zombie appear in the very first stage of the apocalypse? Seeing that Duan Fei could block its basic attacks, the monster unleashed its ultimate move. Dozens of tentacles suddenly sprouted from its back. Each tentacle tip was a sharp spike capable of piercing through an adult's flesh. Duan Fei could only dodge. He had no way to counterattack. Knowing he was currently no match for a primeval zombie, he dashed toward the origin seed, intending to grab it and retreat as soon as possible. But something even more absurd happened. The zombie seemed to have predicted his move. Its tentacles abruptly changed direction and snatched the origin seed. Not only that, but it also smelled a look of utter gloating as it watched Duan Fei miss his target. A chill ran down his spine. This was too terrifying. Could this zombie think? While Duan Fei was lost in thought, he accidentally exposed an opening. The primeval zombie immediately targeted it and attacked. A massive explosion ensued, shaking the ground and sending debris flying, leaving Duan Fei in a wretched state. He still couldn't understand it. First, a physically mutated zombie appeared yesterday, and now this primeval zombie. All of this contradicted what had happened in his previous life. Was it because he was reborn and carried memories of the past that history was changing and becoming more difficult? Looking closely, Duan Fei noticed a stream of blue energy connecting the origin seed fragment to the female primeval zombie. He had never seen this before. But after taking a beating, Duan Fei deduced that this zombie was created by the meteorite fragments and was acting as a guardian. Once this thought flashed through his mind, Duan Fei recalled how the zombie had loitered in the pit for half the day without going anywhere else. He silently speculated, if it's truly trying to protect that meteorite fragment, then perhaps it cannot travel far. Duan Fei started to run. The female zombie tried to attack and pursue. But indeed, he guessed right again. Its range was limited. The immediate danger facing Duan Fei was temporarily resolved. But that was only the immediate situation. Duan Fei retreated into a ruined building to take cover. If he wanted to obtain that origin seed, he still had to defeat the female primeval zombie. But a head-on confrontation was too risky a plan. Duan Fei needed to find a safer method. He took something out of his backpack. It was the blood he had collected from the dead bodies in the apartment complex. Now was the time to use it. Sometime later, the female zombie was suddenly attracted by the sound of an engine. When it turned around, it saw Duan Fei riding a motorcycle he had found somewhere, leading a legion of zombies charging straight toward it. As he approached the pit, he tossed the bottle of blood high into the air, launching the motorcycle into a jump. Duan Fei slashed the blood bottle with his dagger. Fresh blood rained down, completely drenching the primeval zombie. The low-level zombies he had lured lacked intelligence. They could no longer recognize their own kind after the primeval zombie was covered in fresh human blood. They immediately treated the female zombie as a target and lunged. One after another, they charged. Piling on top of each other, every single one wanted to tear into the sole target. Very quickly, the primeval zombie was submerged amidst the other zombies. Yet, even so, its combat power remained formidable. With a burst of internal power, it sent the swarm of low-level zombies flying. Watching this from afar through binoculars, Duan Fei couldn't help but marvel. The power of a primeval zombie was truly terrifying. A single blow could handle a pile of low-level zombies. He had anticipated this, which was why he used the horde to wear down its stamina. In the end, he would just wait to reap the rewards. The first group of low-level zombies was dispatched neatly by the primeval zombie. But the number of zombies Duan Fei had lured was truly as numerous as ants. Wave after wave, they surged forward like the tide. The female zombie was busy dealing with them. Since the blood on her body couldn't be washed off unless she wiped out every single low-level zombie, she would remain their target. As the number of incoming zombies grew, the primeval zombie began to struggle to keep up. Furious, she pushed off the ground and leaped high into the air. Looking down with a gaze of utter contempt, she muttered, cursing the zombies below as a bunch of trash. Accompanying her curse, tentacles shot up from the ground like mushrooms, tightly binding the entire horde. Seeing the zombies he lured about to be wiped out, Duan Fei couldn't sit still. He hurriedly drove closer, ready to look for an opportunity to strike. The commotion of the battle had attracted even more zombies. But that alone wasn't enough. Duan Fei still needed more Euro and stronger Euro zombies to whittle down its strength. Yet, before he could even reach the spot, the swarming zombies were wiped out once again. Duan Fei estimated that these two purges had consumed a significant amount of the primeval zombie's stamina, but it still wasn't enough for him to defeat it. If he continued to drag this out, allowing the origin seed to restore its energy, things would get even more complicated. Just then, something completely outside Duan Fei's calculations occurred. A mutated beast appeared. At first glance, it looked like a pet husky, but its size was massively dozens of times larger than an adult Manhwa, with razor-sharp claws and a ferocious demeanor. Its strength was immense. The moment it appeared, it pinned the primeval zombie to the ground, completely dominating the fight. Duan Fei observed the beast. It possessed all the characteristics of near evolution. Its power was no joke. If it managed to eat the primeval zombie, it would complete its evolution. That would make things infinitely worse. The battle between the two was incredibly intense. Duan Fei, watching from the sidelines, was on pins and needles. If the beast actually devoured the primeval zombie, it would be even harder to deal with. And what you fear most is often what happens. Just as Duan Fei thought this, he saw the primeval zombie pinned flat against the ground like a crushed shrimp once again. What? Did the beast actually defeat it? Duan Fei unconsciously took 2 steps forward, wanting to see the situation clearly. But suddenly, he realized something and quickly pulled back. The primeval zombie's breath hadn't vanished. It was still very much alive. As the beast bared its sharp fangs, preparing to bite into its opponent, the primeval zombie opened its eyes. Using the power of its tentacles, it pierced right through the massive body of the mutated beast. Duan Fei realized that it had deliberately feigned death to lure him closer to the pit, intending to use its remaining strength to finish off both him and the beast in one go. What a cunning monster. It was fortunate he realized it in time. Otherwise, he really wouldn't have been able to keep his little life. After annihilating the mutant beast, the prime zombie staggered to its feet, staring dead at Duan Fei before letting out a cackling laugh. So, you didn't take the bait. Have you gotten smarter? Lowly human. It deliberately emphasized the words, lowly human. Just as Duan Fei predicted, this monster possessed its own consciousness. Right back at you. Too easy, Duan Fei retorted. What? Do you think you can defeat me now? The opponent continued to provoke him. Theta Euros, a question I should be asking you. As he spoke, Duan Fei decisively tore off his tattered jacket, then jumped straight down into the meteorite crater. Seeing this, the prime zombie laughed maniacally. In its eyes, he was practically seeking his own death. But there was no helping it. The thing Duan Fei wanted was down there, and he had to go back to get it. Barely 2 sentences were exchanged before the prime zombie launched its attack first. But this time, after severing one of its tentacles, Duan Fei clearly felt that its speed had decreased significantly. The female zombie was still using the same old attacks with her massive tentacles. It seemed she was pouring all her power into the offense, wanting to eliminate Duan Fei as quickly as possible. Duan Fei strained his eyes to observe. This was the moment his level 2 detection ability would shine. Fortunately, now that the zombie had slowed down a bit, his detection ability had caught up with the opponent's speed. The prime zombie was furious seeing Duan Fei easily dodge every single one of its attacks. This time, it lunged forward personally, reaching out to strangle Duan Fei. However, he had already gained the upper hand. Duan Fei swung his blade with precision, instantly severing its outstretched arm. This shocked the prime zombie to its core, causing its rage to erupt violently. Damn human! It roared with every breath. I will tear you into little pieces. I will take your life. Along with the prime zombie's scream, its severed arm began to grow back. Tentacles surged up from the ground, carrying a blue energy that seemed to be fueling it with power. Watching the prime zombie begin to grow in size, cold sweat poured down Duan Fiero's face. What is this? How can it not only regenerate quickly, but also transform into a giant? Is the origin seed transferring energy to it? After the transformation process ended, the prime zombie had truly turned into a monster. After exchanging a few blows, Duan Fei felt he was being pushed into a disadvantage again. He wanted to temporarily retreat to formulate a plan, but the prime zombie wouldn't give him a chance to leave the crater a second time. Do you think I'll give you a second chance to run? Its voice boomed from right behind Duan Fei. Then, the prime zombie began controlling its tentacles to hunt Duan Fei down. He fought back desperately, but if this continued, he would be in mortal danger. The prime zombie's tentacles began inflicting wounds, big and small, all over his body. Duan Fei had to defend himself while racking his brain for a solution. Just then, a sharp tentacle from the prime zombie shot forward. Duan Fiero's heart felt like it was being squeezed, because that tentacle was aiming straight for his face. More precisely, it was aiming straight for his eye. Duan Fei fell into despair, but just as the tentacle was inches from his pupil, it stopped. Everything felt like a slow-motion film. The first question in Duan Fei's mind was why the tentacle had stopped. But he quickly got his answer, because immediately after, the prime zombie suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood and collapsed. Its exhausted body could no longer withstand the massive energy from the origin seed. At this point, its body could no longer support the fight. Even so, the prime zombie remained stubborn. Though its body had reached its limit, it still struggled to launch a tentacle one last time, determined to take Duan Fei's life. However, both its speed and strength had diminished greatly. Duan Fei, with just his dagger, easily neutralized the tentacle attack. Next, he accelerated, closed the distance, and slashed 3 or 4 times in rapid succession. The prime zombie was knocked onto its back, but it still refused to give up. Unfortunately for it, the outcome of the battle was already decided. Only when the tip of Duan Fei's blade was pointed right at its eye did the monster begin to tremble. But there was no way he would spare it. It had a mission to protect the origin seed, and he had to do everything to protect his little sister. Seeing the prime zombie's tears, Duan Fei felt a shred of sympathy. But his blade did not stop because of it. Because for the sake of the person he wanted to protect, he would not stop fighting until his enemy's life was extinguished. And in this battle, Duan Fei, through his sheer tenacity, had won. A prime zombie is indeed different from those ordinary zombies, because after taking it down, Duan Fei received a whopping 100 evolution points. But compared to those points, the thing that interested him more was the origin seed. However, if every origin seed in this life has a powerful guardian like this prime zombie, that would be a huge problem. Duan Fei picked up Duan Xinyue's hairpin, then reached out to take the origin seed. The moment his hand touched the fragment of the origin seed, his injuries instantly recovered significantly. It seems the energy of the origin seed is even more miraculous than he imagined. With this, the chance of Duan Xinyue awakening an ability and walking normally again is very high. Duan Fei wanted to bring this good news to his sister as soon as possible, so he tucked the origin seed in his chest and prepared to leave. At that same moment, the zombie behind him suddenly stirred and groaned. Duan Fei was startled and glanced toward the sound. He wondered. The sound came from a mutant beast. Could it be that it's not dead yet? He slowly approached the zombie. Its body began to twitch more violently. Suddenly, a blood-red aura shot up from the zombie, startling Duan Fei. He muttered, "How is this possible?" A tiny paw stepped out. A small, golden, puppy-like creature walked tremblingly toward him. Duan Fei was astonished. The mutant beast actually... He continued to analyze. Early-stage zombies cannot reproduce. A fetus in a mother's womb, after she turns into a zombie, usually becomes energy for the mother to absorb. But this mutant beast was killed in battle before it could digest it. Therefore, the fetus in the womb was lucky enough to survive, inheriting all the mother's energy. It slowly walked closer to Duan Fei. He reached out and picked up the strange creature. This situation is too rare. This really is an unexpected harvest. It opened its eyes. He pondered deeply. A newborn mutant beast like this has a very high probability of being tamed. He was nervous, as long as the first person it sees when it opens its eyes is me. He held it close to his face to observe. It would view him as family and be absolutely loyal to him. The The little zombie creature let out a yip yip, making Duan-Fei excited. Did it work? It happily opened its mouth full of teeth. Duan-Fei was licked wet by it, but he laughed happily. Ha, it worked. I tamed this mutant beast. It yipped again as if responding to him. He lifted it high, his mood full of excitement. Today's harvest is huge. Please take care of me from now on. I need to give you a name. As if responding, it continued to yip. Duan-Fei decided. Then let's call you Jean Bao. By the time he finished, the clock had struck 18:30. He put Jean Bao and the stone in his bag. Being newborn, it's probably very weak. Sleep in the backpack for a while. Duan-Fei hurriedly carried his backpack and left. It was getting late. Had to get home quickly. It would be hard to move once it got dark. Time passed. Night fell, and the moonlight shone brightly. 5 days remaining until the end of the apocalypse. 1900 hours. Zombies were everywhere now, howling. Suddenly, a certain power wafted past them. Catching the scent of this strange power, they immediately turned around. They tried to fumble their way toward the source of this power. The entire city was surrounded by that power. It turned out the source of that power was coming from Duan-Fei's backpack. The scent from his backpack was radiating intensely. Realizing something was wrong, he ran as fast as he could. I'm screwed. The sky is completely dark. The aura of zombies around him was getting thicker. Having absorbed the prime energy for a day, perhaps the zombies had already started evolving. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. The ground beneath his feet was cracking open. He backed away to keep his distance as the ground around him cracked more and more. Duan-Fei gritted his teeth. Damn it, I purposely ran to a desolate place, yet I was still discovered. From underground, a horde of giant zombie rats emerged, shocking Duan-Fei. Mutant beasts. Indeed, mutated rats. Pack-hunting mutant beasts are the hardest to deal with. He drew his sword. The horde of giant zombie rats launched themselves like spears toward him. Are they targeting the origin seed? Duan-Fei immediately fought back, raising his foot to kick one in the nose. The situation isn't in my favor. I can't stay here. Seizing the moment, he leaped onto a nearby street lamp and thought, I need to find a safe place to hide first. Seeing this, they frantically bid at the lamppost. At 1940, at a factory, a girl was standing with her back turned, looking at the ruined buildings outside. Wenwen ran over with a worried face, calling out, Sister Xiako. She replied, What is it? Wenwen worriedly said, Sister Xiako, go rest a bit. Since this happened, you haven't slept a wink. She reassured Wenwen, I'm fine. Let old Li and the others rest first. Suddenly, she was startled by a loud roar. Xiako immediately took out her binoculars to observe and saw Duan-Fei rushing as if fleeing from something. A survivor. She shouted, Lang Wenwen, tell old Li and the others to prepare for combat. There's a survivor nearby. She was shocked by Duan-Fei's sprinting speed and changed her mind. Don't call old Li and the others yet. What is this? This person's speed is too fast. Xiaku tracked Duan-Fei's movements, everything astonishing her. I can't believe he can withstand attacks from 5 zombies at once. What exactly is his background? Xiaku ordered. Lang Wenwen, get old Li and the others fully armed and wait for orders. Wenwen obeyed. Ah, Roger. He ran toward the cosmetic factory, hiding in the construction site first. The claws of the mutant rats were about to touch him. Their eyes glowed red, looking terrifying. They tried to reach him, but luckily, the factory fence stopped them. He successfully escaped inside and gasped for breath. At the same time, the stone had broken in half without him knowing. Duan-Fei stood inside the parking garage observing. It's not safe here either. The main door won't hold for long. If they came for the zombie seed, then hiding anywhere is useless. He sat leaning against the car, thinking, what do I do? I'm afraid I can't go back tonight. I can only hold out until morning. Duan-Fei opened his backpack and panicked. The origin seed is gone. He started questioning. What happened? Did I drop it while running? Impossible. The mutant beasts were still chasing me, proving the origin seed was still on me. It was absorbed by Jean Bao. The system appeared. Genetic energy decomposition complete, starting absorption. He gritted his teeth in anxiety. The evolutionary tree. Duan-Fei suddenly collapsed in pain, clutching his heart. What is happening? My body feels like it's being torn apart. Duan-Fei erupted with a mysterious red power. Arg! He screamed in agony. The power was so terrifying it affected everything around, knocking Jean Bao away. While Duan-Fei was awakening his power, a massive explosion occurred behind him. Jean Bao, affected by the blast, slowly opened its eyes. The mutant rats had created that explosion to breach the gate and storm inside. The mutant rats began baring their claws, entering the premises. Duan Fei was leaning against the car in pain as they approached. He was completely drained of strength, trying to glance at them. Damn it, what is this? My whole body can't exert any force. Is this a ghost created by the evolutionary tree? They began surging forward as if to swallow him whole. Duan Feiuro's eyes slowly closed, thinking, damn it, is this where I get buried? The mutant rats prepared to attack Duan Fei with their sharp claws. Suddenly, their gaze froze. Jin Bao erupted with power and flew up, its entire body shrouded in golden lightning. Its eyes glowed brightly, sparking with electricity. Two black wings sprouted from Jin Bao's body. It channeled its power, eyes flashing with lightning bolts. Jin Bao stood in front to protect Duan Fei from the angry, teeth-baring mutant rats. It took the initiative to charge forward. Jin Bao's momentum created a shockwave, crashing straight into the pack, causing the mutant rats to collide with each other. It stood tall, channeling power into a defensive stance. They were damaged by Jin Bao's lightning bolts, blood spewing out. The zombies outside were attracted by the noise and began pouring in. They started surrounding Duan Fei, while Jin Bao was climbing over the mutant rats. It began rushing toward the gate. A mutant rat jumped out to block it. It opened its mouth, preparing to bite Duan Fei. Jin Bao was attacked head-on by them, suffering great pain. It was knocked away, flying straight out of the factory. A bullet embedded itself straight into the head of the mutant rat that was about to attack Duan Fei. Old Li and Xiaku appeared. Little Xian, you're in charge of saving him. Old Li and I will provide cover. They hurriedly eliminated the zombies. She ordered, once you have him, return to the elevator immediately. Everyone copy. They shot down rows of zombies while successfully carrying Duan Fei away. Old Li worried. Captain Xia, is it okay to casually bring an outsider into the hideout? If he's been bitten by a zombie, we're done for. Xiaku replied firmly. We cannot abandon any survivors. After saving him, we just need to quarantine him for observation. The subordinate obeyed. Roger, she ordered. Little Exon, hurry back to the elevator, prepare to retreat. He replied, understood. Little Xian carried Duan Fei away under the pursuit of the approaching zombies. Old Li, maintain fire. Cover us. Everyone pulled the gate down, jamming the zombies' hands. He began calculating a plan. Little Xian and I will handle these zombies. Yes, she continued. Old Li, notify Lang 11. Prepare to change locations. It's not safe here anymore. He replied briefly, relaying order. On the other side, Jin Bao was being surrounded by the mutant rats. It began charging up its power, eyes flashing with lightning. Jin Bao unleashed power that cracked the ground, shocking the entire pack. At this moment, Duan Fei was lying amidst giant statues, surrounded by mystical butterflies. Among them was a statue with an outstretched hand, a symbol beneath a tree. The goddess statue began using its power to lift his body. A mysterious source of power created cracks on Duan Fei's forehead. One day remaining until the end of the apocalypse. He startled awake, eyes intense. Outside the building, a familiar power presence. Jin Bao had transformed into a massive form, crushing all the zombies outside. Duan Fei sat up tiredly, holding his head. My head hurts. Where is this? He looked around in confusion. Xiaka sternly pointed her gun straight at him. Slowly stepped down from the bed. I have a few questions for you. What kind of human are you to dare fight against zombies? Duan Fei remained silent. He stepped down coldly. I have nothing to say. She warned, you can't leave yet. Before she could finish her sentence, Duan Fei's shadow appeared behind her back as fast as lightning. Duan Fei grabbed the gun with his hand. He turned the tables, suppressing her and pointing the gun right at her head. Do you think you can stop me? Xiaoko winced in pain, thinking, his strength is too powerful. Everyone outside broke down the door and rushed in. They stood opposite him, raising their guns and warning, don't move. Armed police unit, drop your weapon. Hands on your head. Step aside. Woman was worried. She reassured Old Li. Don't be rash, I'm fine. Duan Fei glanced at the military group. Xiaoko slowly explained. I forgot to introduce myself. We're the Armed Police Brigade. I am their captain, Xiaoko. We were the ones who saved you from that rat cave. Ma Lu shouted angrily. Truly an ungrateful wretch. We shouldn't have saved someone of unknown origin like this. We even had to take care of him for 4 days. Thanks to him, more and more zombies are surrounding us. Let's throw this guy out to lure the zombies away. Mu nodded. Right. He thought to himself, damn it. I haven't even touched Sister Xia's hand, Yet this brat dares to steal my thunder. Duan Fei was stunned. I've been in a coma for 4 days? He suddenly realized everything and started to run. I remember now. I passed out after being surrounded by the mutant beasts. Damn it. For days. Xinyue must be worried sick at home. Sayaka shouted. Wait. She stopped him. Right now, zombies are everywhere outside. Going out like this is too dangerous. I saw your skills. I hope you can join our operation. Currently, every bit of strength is indispensable. Duan Fei turned around and replied coldly. And if I say no? While everyone was tense, the shadow of a giant monster appeared from outside. It smashed through the glass window and charged in. Its giant claws attacked everyone. Careful! Wenwen stood rooted to the spot, trembling before the sharp claws about to touch her. Duan Fei stepped in to block the giant claws of the mysterious monster. He shouted, Get out of here now! She stammered, Okay. Duan Fei wondered in confusion. What is going on? It actually chased me here. With my level 3 speed, I shouldn't have been able to do that. Suddenly, a power surged around his body, helping Duan Fei lift its giant claws easily. He suddenly realized with a start, this power suddenly radiating. Duan Fei's legs became rock solid. Sayaka stood frozen in shock. Everyone was speechless with astonishment. Wenwen spoke up. How is that possible? Is he even human? Duan Fei channeled his power and shouted. Jin Bao, in its giant form, was knocked back. Duan Fei flew out to confront it. His body's functions seemed to have increased significantly. He used his fist to fly back and attack it. No time to think too much. I have to deal with this mutant beast in front of me first. His eyes lit up with killing intent. Suddenly, Duan Fei froze. His hand stopped right in front of its face. A shockwave radiated from the power of Duan Fei's fist. He stood on top of it, skeptical. Jin Bao. It licked his face happily. Is it really Jin Bao? How did you turn into this? Whimper. Duan Fei said warmly. Sorry, I couldn't recognize you just now. I can actually fight Jin Bao barehanded after it matured. Did my attribute levels increase? The system interface appeared. Attribute upgrade interface opened. Notification info, evolutionary tree, remaining balance. Strength, level 3. Level 4 requires 100 evolution points. Agility, level 3. Level 4 requires 100 evolution points. Dexterity, level 2. Level 3 requires 10 evolution points. Spirit, level 1. Level 2 requires 10 evolution points. Perfect Gene Project. Restart requires 10,000 evolution points. He pondered. My attribute tiers haven't changed at all. The points I gained from defeating the proto-species earlier are gone too. His eyes widened in shock. And what is this Perfect Gene Project? It requires 10,000 evolution points? Wait, restart? Does that mean IUROV already started it once before? Entering the evolution tree system. Duan Fei was taken aback. The evolution tree is different from last time. He began to question it. Evolution tree? Did you cause the disappearance of my evolution points and the proto-species? A notification panel appeared. Resources consumed to restart the perfect gene. The host's genes have broken through the limits of the original genome. Duan Fei confirmed with a serious expression. So it was you, breaking the limits of the initial attribute stats. No wonder my level 3 strength and agility are displaying power far beyond their original values. Duan Fei tensely recalled the past. Everyone's genetic limit is fixed. No matter how much one cultivates, they cannot break through the body's physical limits. In my past life, I witnessed an S-class warrior break his own limits. He didn't like taking risks. In the end, that warrior died because of it. The obstacle preventing human evolution is called, he emphasized, the genetic lock. Duan Fei clenched his muscles, speaking to himself with confidence. Now I can break the restrictions of the lock. This proves I can grow infinitely. Although it requires a massive amount of points, this is absolutely worth far more than the initial value. Back at the base, everyone looked up in a daze. They screamed in shock as Duan Fei returned riding Jin Bao. Why did you bring it back? He jumped down and replied calmly. No need to be tense. This is a pet I am raising. Duan Fei gently stroked it. It was very small and cute at first. It only grew this big because it ate too many zombies over the last few days. It only attacked you earlier because it thought you were trying to harm me. Sayaka asked worriedly. Are you serious? You actually keeping a monster as a pet? Duan Fei explained. It's a long story. I'll explain it to you if there's a chance later. Outside, zombies were flooding toward the base. There was a more urgent problem to solve right in front of them. The noise from earlier had attracted a massive horde. Everyone was in a panic. How did this happen? What do we do now? Our firepower can't possibly handle this many zombies. What should we do? Duan Fei spoke up. We can't stay here anymore. We have to move the base. Xiaka replied. We have nowhere to go. This was the only option after we scouted the surrounding area. Duan Fei stretched his limbs. Don't worry about that. There's a military shelter 40 kilometers from here. You guys can go there. She asked in confusion. A shelter? Really? But there are so many zombies outside. We can't break out. He said confidently. Don't worry. This happened because of me, so I'll take responsibility and lure the zombies away. You guys take the opportunity to run to the warehouse outside and wait for me to regroup with you. Xiaku worried. You're going alone? That's too dangerous. I'll go with you. At least you'll have someone to coordinate with. He replied, no need. You can't help me. I'd have to distract myself to look after you. Besides, they need your leadership. Duan Fei rode Jin Bao and flew off like a streak of lightning. Wenwen said anxiously to Xiaku, Sister Xia, will he be in danger going alone? Will he even come back? She replied, he's stronger than us. We can only choose to trust him. She wondered, I still don't know his name. When he comes back, I definitely have to ask him properly. Duan Fei's footsteps gradually approached the target. He stood observing the swarm of zombies rushing in. Although I've become much stronger, dealing with this many zombies barehanded is still a bit dangerous. Duan Fei glanced around. He pulled up a street sign to use as a weapon. This is perfect. Guaranteed damage. Duan Fei smiled slyly. Let the games begin. He slammed the sign hard against the iron fence. Hearing the noise, the zombies roared and searched everywhere. Xiaka watched from high above. Is he crazy? That will attract even more zombies. She shouted an order. Everyone grab your gear. Move out immediately. We can't worry about anything else. Stick to the original plan. Duan Fei gently explained to his pet. I told you you're not allowed to fight. I want to test my strength. Besides, these guys are my precious evolution points. It whimpered in grievance. Woo-woo. Duan Fei became serious. If it were the old me, facing this many zombies would definitely mean zero chance of victory. The zombies began to advance toward him. But now, I have been reborn once again. He stomped his foot heavily to gather momentum. Duan Fei charged forward to confront them head-on. Come on, let me feel this brand new power. Duan Fei rushed in, using the iron sign to attack the zombie horde. With a single swing of the iron sign, the heads of a whole row of zombies were severed from their bodies. Duan Fei thought, as expected, I can feel that my strength has increased significantly. The zombies continued to roar and approach. Duan Fei immediately slammed the iron rod into the ground, sending the zombies flying. Suddenly, a giant foot stomped on the ground, cracking the pavement. Duan Fei looked up and sensed it. Finally, a worthy zombie. It seems this one has awakened an ability. A massive zombie appeared before him with blood-red eyes and a muscular physique, growling. The system displayed a notification, Rank F. Duan Fei asked with interest, F-Class? Although it awakened the lowest level ability, it's worlds apart from those ordinary beginner zombies. The zombie attacked him. He immediately jumped up to dodge the strike, thinking, but it's still a zombie with no intelligence. Just a desire to consume food. Duan Fei immediately swung the iron sign to attack the zombie. Its body was so hard that it bent his metal sign. Duan Fei muttered, so it awakened a muscle enhancement ability. He smiled, his eyes gleaming, just in time to be the perfect sandbag for me to test my strength. 1700 hours. In a desolate place with only a few sturdy houses, doors sealed tight. Inside the house, Xiaka's group was waiting with high alert. Ling Wenwen looked outside and asked, why isn't he here yet? Could that big brother have run into danger? Xiaka replied, the only thing we can do right now is trust that he will definitely come here to regroup with us. Ma Lai said in a deep voice, Captain Xia, if that brat doesn't show up, are we just going to keep waiting? Xiaka remained firm. Since we made a promise, we must keep it. Hearing this, he shouted angrily. Enough. Everyone saw dozens of zombies rushing at him back there. There's no way he could survive. Making us wait here is just waiting for death. Julie saw him shouting and scolded. Hey, keep it down. Ma Lai shouted furiously. We shouldn't have saved him back then. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be in this mess. Since he agreed to lure the zombies away, we should hurry up and escape. We should be running to the shelter. If we wait until dark, no one will make it out. Xiaka listened and angrily ordered. You bastard, Oldie, stop him. If he attracts the zombies, we're in big trouble. Uncle Lee heard him and wavered. Captain Xia, I also feel we should leave this place quickly. We can't confirm if that guy is alive or not, or if he already ran away. Even if we step back and think about it, If he doesn't find us, he'll go to the shelter to find us himself. He has the ability to act alone. As soon as he finished speaking, the whole warehouse fell silent. Sayaka closed her eyes and replied, I understand. I will go confirm if he's still alive right now. If I haven't returned in 30 minutes, Old Lee will lead the team to the shelter. Uncle Lee panicked. Captain Xia, going there alone is extremely dangerous. Sayaka said to Uncle Lee, You're right. I should make everyone wait here. But I can't leave with a clear conscience. Ling Wenwen was startled and called out, Sister Xia. Just then, a zombie appeared at the back window, roaring and startling both Xiaku and Ling Wenwen. Uncle Lee and Little Qin raised their guns and shouted, Captain Xia, look out! Get down! The zombie roared, about to attack the two of them. Suddenly, a black shadow flew in and kicked the zombie in the face, giving it no time to react. Duan Fei's figure appeared, kicking the zombie far away and kicking up a cloud of dust. Ling Wenwen smiled upon seeing this. Sister Xia, he finally came. Sayaka nodded. Yes. Duan Fei turned his head and said to them, Sorry. Ran into some unexpected trouble on the way, lost a bit of time. Sayaka smiled at him. We should be the ones apologizing. As police officers, we let you take the risk. After taking down the mutated zombie and the surrounding mob, Duan Fei replied, No need to be polite. If you guys hadn't saved me back then, I would have died. I've dealt with the nearby zombies. You can go to the shelter now. At that moment, Jin Bao appeared behind him. He instructed everyone, I'll have Jin Bao escort you there. You probably won't encounter any danger on the road. Sayaka asked in surprise. You aren't coming with us? Duan Fei replied coldly. No, I have to go find my sister. The system displayed a notification. 7 hours remaining until the revelation ends. At 17:30, Xiaku and her team had climbed onto Jin Bao's back. She threw a backpack down to Duan Fei. Catch. This is your bag. Duan Fei raised his hand to catch it. Thanks. Xiaku asked. Will we meet again? Duan Fei answered. Once I find my sister, I'll come to the shelter too. Before leaving, Xiaku didn't forget. By the way, what's your name? He looked up at her and quickly said his name, Duan Fei. Then Xiaku waved goodbye. Duan Fei, I still have a lot of things I want to ask you. You definitely have to come to that shelter. Be careful out there. Duan Fei nodded and said, I know. Jin Bao, move out. Get them to the shelter before 12 o'clock. He turned around, glancing back and muttering. After 12 o'clock, the revelation will end. At that time, many awakened zombies will appear. Although Jin Bao is currently early F class, it hasn't awakened an ability yet. If it encounters those zombies, it will be very dangerous. Xinyue, wait for me. I'm coming back right now. Duan Fei used his speed power to sprint toward the apartment complex. His running speed sent everything around him flying. He braked hard upon arrival, causing dust to billow up around him. The scene before him made him stammer uncontrollably. Why? Why is it like this? Standing before the ruined building and bullet holes on the walls, as if a war had just occurred, he was bewildered. What on earth happened? There was a gunfight here? Did the military come? He immediately used his walkie-talkie and shouted, Xinyue, can you hear me? Xinyue. Seeing his sister didn't answer, he immediately ran up, thinking, this is bad. From what I remember, the military is busy establishing the shelter right now. They wouldn't appear here to kill zombies. Only criminals taking advantage of the social chaos to do evil deeds. If that's the case, Xinyue is in grave danger. He ran into the dark residential area full of corpses. Damn it. The power in this whole area has been cut. Running into a room, he stopped, gritting his teeth as he looked around, confirming his suspicion. Just as I thought. The rooms on every floor show signs of forced entry. It was definitely done by thugs. Duan Fei clenched his teeth. His eyes were sharp but filled with worry. Those people have no moral constraints. Laws. Sometimes they are more terrifying than zombies. Xinyue, nothing must happen to you. Just then, sunlight from a window illuminated the room. Duan Fei ran to his floor, silenced by the sight of the shattered window. He ran into the room, seeing everything overturned, and called out anxiously, Xinyue, Xinyue, where are you? Duan Fei opened the door to another room with a face full of worry. He saw her wheelchair broken and lying in pieces on the floor and muttered, Xin. On the ground lay a shattered photo of the two siblings, him carrying her on his back at the beach. Seeing his sister missing, Duan Fei was furious, power gathering in his body. He clasped his hands together. I will hack you bastards into 10,000 pieces. Xinyue, don't be afraid. I'm coming to save you right now. 21:30 hours. Gunshots echoed in the silent night. A zombie cried out in pain, ugh. As soon as one fell, Another rushed forward to attack. Two men were taking cover on an off-road vehicle, continuously using guns to finish off the zombies. One asked angrily, "Where the hell did all these zombies come from?" The car rolled slowly but was blocked by piles of zombies. Curses rang out again. Damn it! Traffic jam! The zombies became more aggressive, swarming closer to them. The man asked worriedly, "At this rate, we'll be stuck here. Boss Guan, what should we do?" Boss Guan was very leisurely. "Drink something? You useless trash." He stroked Xinyue's chin. "Relax. I've already notified my uncle." He laughed lewdly and continued speaking to his accomplice. "They'll send the military to save us soon. In the meantime, I have to take good care of my little treasure." Xinyue was tied tightly to the seat, unable to resist. "Let me go." She bravely condemned them. "Why are you doing this? We should be united to fight the zombies." Jialong sinisterly mocked her words. "I don't have that spirit of self-sacrifice for others. Now that things have come to this, I want to go solo even more. This chaotic situation is the best opportunity to expand my power." Ignoring his brothers outside struggling against zombies to keep him safe, Jialong remained arrogant. "I want to build my own empire." Suddenly, something landed heavily on the hood of their car. Jialong immediately straightened up, asking in a deep voice, "Did the old man send you? Why is there only one person?" Only Xinyue cried out, choking back sobs. Seeing her aggrieved to the point of tears, Duan Fei glared at them with hatred. Then, without saying a word, he grabbed one of them by the head. With just one hand, he easily threw him out of the car. The zombies below looked at him with hungry eyes. Clearly, they had to be wary of him. One guy raised his gun, sweating profusely as he asked, "Who the hell are you?" Duan Fei coldly kicked the guy out of the car, turning him into breakfast for the zombies. Once done, he glanced into the car. Xinyue called out to Duan Fei worriedly. He stepped dangerously onto the side of the car, intending to enter. His voice was gentle as he comforted her. "Xinyue, it's okay now." Seeing him approaching, Jialong panicked and raised a knife to threaten Duan Fei. "You brat, don't come any closer, or I'll kill this girl." With just a single kick from Duan Fei, the bones in his arm were crushed into mush. Jialong went pale with pain, unable to even scream. Then Duan Fei grabbed him by the collar. He still stubbornly threatened. "Do you know who I am? How dare you do this to me?" Duan Fei's deep blue eyes shone brightly. He replied, "Guan Jialong, a thug, relying on the military power of your uncle, Guan Zhonghua, to commit crimes. Am I wrong?" Jialong finally felt true terror. His voice trembled. "Who exactly are you? How do you know so much about me?" Duan Fei coldly held him like a chicken, preparing to drop him into the zombie horde. As he did so, he said, "You don't need to know." Jialong looked at the zombies in fear. He cowardly begged, "Wait, hold on, don't let go. Save me, I don't want to die yet." His face contorted with fear. He lowered his voice to beg, "I'm sorry, spare me, I know I was wrong." Duan Fei didn't answer him. He stared coldly at Guan Jialong. Begging didn't work, so he turned to threats again. "You brat, if you kill me, my uncle definitely won't let you get away with it." In that instant, a cold wind blew past where they stood. Seeing the helicopters hovering in the sky, Jialong's panic turned into arrogant gloating. "Haha, they're here. You're dead meat." Duan Fei just smiled back. Then he decisively let go, sending Guan Jialong free-falling into the starving zombie horde. He screamed in terror, Don't." The growls of the zombies were clearer than ever. Yeah, but it was all too late. Before being torn apart by the zombies, Jialong still had the energy to curse Duan Fei. Animal. Watching him gradually sink into the mass of zombies, a man's soft voice came from the helicopter. "Well, damn. One step too late." Then the man hurriedly gave an order. "Connect me to Commander Guan." As soon as the signal connected, he reported seriously, "Commander." By the time we arrived, Guan Jialong was already dead. Guan Zhonghua's voice rang out sharply. "What? Who did it? Zombies?" The man replied respectfully, "Yes. The one directly responsible for Guan Jialong's death is a young man." Looking at Duan Fei, tenderly caring for Xinyue, he asked for instructions in a low voice. "What should I do now?" Guan Zhonghua furiously ordered. "Wipe them all out for me." The man chuckled and replied, "Understood." Then he told the young soldiers beside him, "Action. Target is the 2 suspected zombies down there." A pilot replied, "Roger that." Immediately, several helicopters closed in on the siblings. Xinyue was stunned for a moment and said to Duan Fei, "They are." Duan Fei suddenly realized the problem. Without a word, he quickly picked up Xinyue and ran from the military's hail of bullets. As he ran, he gritted his teeth and cursed silently. "That bastard Guan Zhonghua! Two rockets quickly rushed toward the siblings' position. Just as Duan Fei gracefully dodged into a shelter bunker, they escaped disaster. The rockets collided with the outer wall and exploded. The bunker was quite spacious and clean, probably enough for them to take temporary shelter. Duan Fei nimbly found another room and immediately opened the door to carry Xinyue inside. After settling Xinyue down, he instructed her, "You wait in here. I'll distract them. Their target is me." Xinyue gasped in shock. What? She knew she couldn't stop him, so she anxiously advised him, "You must come back safely." Immediately after, he turned to face the night. At the same time, Duan Fei promised her with absolute certainty, "Don't worry. I'll be back soon." Leaving the room, he quickly locked the door tight. Locked again. He didn't know that inside, Xinyue was choking back sobs. He focused solely on speeding out of that house through the window, moving silently through the darkness. The moment he stepped out of the shelter, a hail of bullets from the helicopter rained down on Duan Fei. The sound of lead smashing into the ground echoed deafeningly. The chopper fired relentlessly. He moved with agility, leaping to dodge the barrage. Duan Fei was still in their sights. He sprinted forward with everything he had. He reached a heavy door, his hand slamming against it. Summoning his strength, Duan Fei gritted his teeth, ripped the door off its hinges, and used it as a shield. Bullets hammered against the metal door one after another. Suddenly, he tilted his head, peering out. Had he spotted something? Out of nowhere, a horde of ferocious zombies appeared. Duan Fei thought to himself. The nearby zombies must have been attracted by the noise. He held the door firm to block the bullets from the front, but behind him, the violent zombie horde was closing in. Truly a dilemma caught between a rock and a hard place. Suddenly, he swung his arm, his face set with battle-hardened determination. Duan Fei spun the door around. Using all his strength and the skills from his level, he hurled it violently toward the zombies. The impact was devastating, forcing the horde back and knocking several of them to the ground. The leader lowered his binoculars. His eyes went wide in disbelief. "Is that even human?" Sitting in the helicopter, he commanded, "Interesting. Find a tall building and lower our altitude. I'm going down. You guys keep attacking him." His subordinate acknowledged. Behind Duan Fei, a massive zombie with razor-sharp teeth snarled, letting out an ear-piercing shriek. Duan Fei noticed it immediately. Suddenly, 5 bullets struck simultaneously, slamming into the giant zombie's body. Through the gaping holes torn by the bullets, Duan Fei's face was visible, filled with shock. A massive gun barrel pointed down, firing continuously. Chaos erupted below. He looked up and shouted, "A Gatling? Are you guys out of your minds?" Bullets fell like rain. There was no way to dodge. Duan Fei observed the situation, his mind racing. A weapon with such high lethality is uncontrollable. If there are other survivors, they'll be in grave danger. He decided, "I need to get out of here first. I'm too close to Xinyue." He dodged nimbly, fuming with rage as he ran. To think they'd waste precious ammo for the sake of those scumbags. With a glare full of hatred, he told himself, "That guy named Guan, I definitely won't let him off the hook." The soldier observing was trembling with shock. How? How is that possible? He actually dodged a sweep from a Gatling. Looking through the scope, the sniper locked onto Duan Fei's right shoulder. He muttered, "Come on, let's see what kind of skills you really have." The leader was using a sniper rifle to aim at the target. Standing on a rooftop, he pulled the trigger. The bullet tore through the air, plunging downward. A flash of light zipped past. Duan Fei's eyes widened in surprise. His shoulder was hit. He frowned, clenching his jaw in pain. A voice crackled over the headset. "Report." He hid inside the building. The leader glared in response. "He's been hit. His blood will attract the zombies. Watch the zombies' movement, and we'll find him." He questioned his own reality, thinking, "What happened? Did I just miss? Impossible. I've never missed a shot before. Did he dodge based on pure reaction? Duan Fei quickly took cover in a room filled with cluttered furniture. Leaning against the wall, he gasped for breath. Clutching his bleeding wound, he gritted his teeth in anger. Damn it, they even have a sniper. I was almost done for. He thought, I can't stay here. The scent of blood will draw the zombies. Sure enough, down below, the undead were swarming toward the building. Under the belly of the helicopter, something began to glow. They had just dropped a missile. Its trajectory was the very building Duan Fei was hiding in. Looking out the window, he saw the missile flying dangerously close. Through the sniper scope, the leader smirked. "Let's see how you handle this." In the distance, the helicopter continued its assault while flying. The building below erupted in a violent explosion. The helicopter landed on the rubble. A voice reported, "Report, target neutralized." Suddenly, the leader frowned. He snapped back, "Wait, something's happening." His voice dropped low, "He's not dead." Within the black smoke of the ruins, a pair of terrifying red eyes appeared. It was Jinbao. It stood tall and proud, its wide maw facing the sky. The leader gritted his teeth in fury. "What the hell is that thing?" Standing beside Jinbao, Duan Fei looked up and thanked him. "You helped me out big time, Jinbao." Just in time. His expression turned serious. "What should we do next?" There's no way to get close to the helicopter. Jinbao's nose suddenly nudged close to him, sniffing. Duan Fei glanced at him, confused. Jinbao's eyes suddenly glowed red. He lowered his front legs, and two wings sprouted from his back. Seeing this, Duan Fei bit his lip and said, "That's my Jinbao. You must have eaten quite a bit on the way here." The leader shouted, "Careful, they're starting to counterattack." The helicopter ascended higher. A voice cried out, "When did this monster appear? And it can fly." Duan Fei was now riding on Jinbao's back. The creature radiated a massive aura of power, gathering momentum before charging forward. Soaring high, Jinbao slammed his body into the helicopter. The people inside the chopper were thrown off balance, screaming, We're done for." From the rooftop, the giant form of Jinbao could be seen flying in the air. One helicopter was already engulfed in flames. Only one remained solitary in the sky. The leader turned to flee, thinking, "Damn it. The mission briefing never mentioned a monster like this, asterisk." The pilot grimaced. "Damn it. I don't believe this monster can withstand a sweep from the Gatling." The helicopter flew high above. Looking around and below, they saw only smoke, dust, and ruins. A confused voice spoke up. "Where is he? Where did he run off to?" A foot stepped onto the outer rail of the helicopter. It was Duan Fei. He had stepped inside the cabin. He spoke. "You guys looking for me?" Hearing this, the two men froze, panic washing over their faces. A scream echoed from the walkie-talkie. "Don't come any closer." The leader heard the panic and asked the caller, "Hello? Hello? What's wrong? Damn it. What kind of person did Guan Jialong mess with?" As he was walking down the stairs, the leader received another report. "Calling Captain. Ground team here. We found a lucky survivor." He paused, suspicious. "A lucky survivor?" He smirked, regaining his confidence. "Looks like we haven't completely lost yet." Jinbao carried Duan Fei down to the ground safely. He said, "This is the place, Jinbao. I'm introducing my sister to you." "Wait a moment, don't scare her." Jinbao let out a sound as if agreeing. Suddenly, a voice spoke up. "Finally, we meet. Seems you celebrated a bit too early." He looked over, his face filled with worry. The leader pointed a gun at Xianu. He smiled smugly. "This girl seems very important to you, doesn't she?" She was lying on the ground, her face full of fear, calling out, "Brother!" Duan Fei's scream tore through the air. "Xianu." At this moment, 10 minutes remained until the apocalypse ended. He raged, "You scumbag! Let Xianu go, or I swear I won't let you off." The man laughed mockingly. "Won't let me off, huh?" He pressed the gun harder against her head. "I'd actually like to see if you're faster, or if my gun is faster." Duan Fei screamed in agony. "Stop. Your target is me. She has nothing to do with this. You just want to take me back for a report. I'll trade myself for her." He turned to Jinbao. "Listen to me, Jinbao. In a moment, please take her to a safe place." The beast growled twice. "Grr." Xianu cried out, "Don't worry about me. Run, brother." He resolved, "I told you I will never abandon you." He thought to himself, "I don't want to live in regret anymore." The leader sneered, You got some guts." The sniper in the distance spoke into the radio. "Report. Target has entered firing range." The command came from the leader. "Fire." Dozens of missiles sped toward him. A massive explosion erupted, creating a deep crater. Xianu witnessed it all, screaming in despair. The leader looked at the flames before him, gloating, mission accomplished." From within the fire, Jinbao stepped out. Smoke swirled around him. The smoke cleared, but only the beast was visible. The leader was confused. "Where is he? Where did he go?" He shouted. "Everyone, defensive positions. He's not dead yet." As he spoke, he grabbed Xianu by the hair, causing her pain. Duan Fei's glowing red eyes were lurking behind them. The leader turned his head in alarm. Unable to react in time, he took a critical hit straight to the back. The leader was sent flying to one side. Xianu fell in the other direction. He struggled to use the last of his weak strength to order, "Focus all firepower. Shoot that girl for me." Duan Fei was tense. "What? The guy isn't dead yet." Countless projectiles were heading toward Xinu, who was still lying there. He rushed toward her. It's over. I gave it everything I had. How is he still alive? The firepower was getting closer and closer to her. Xinu's eyes filled with tears of utter despair. She squeezed her eyes shut, awaiting death. Duan Fei used every ounce of strength to dive toward her. Xinu. He grabbed her and jumped aside, trying to get away from the explosion. The two of them luckily escaped instant death. She slowly opened her eyes after the fall. But Duan Fei was unconscious. His back was heavily wounded from the explosion. She called out to him, heartbroken. She looked at her hands, which had just held her brother, now covered in blood. She burst into tears. What's wrong? Don't scare me. Xinu screamed. Nothing can happen to you. I can't live without you. She wept, looking at him lying there. Please, open your eyes. I beg you. The leader clutched the wound on his side, stepping out of the smoke. Cough, cough. That was close. My left arm is completely gone. He looked at his broken gun, muttering, if I hadn't used the gun to block that hit in time, I would be dead for sure. On the other side, Xinu was still sobbing. Don't leave me. A hand reached up and gently wiped away her tears. Duan Fei whispered after regaining consciousness. Xinu, don't cry. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. She hurriedly grabbed his hand. No, you don't need to apologize. I'm the one who burdened you. He slowly closed his eyes. Being able to see you one last time, I'm very happy. He murmured a few words before passing out completely. Everything feels like a dream. I really wanted to cherish this chance. He whispered in his heart, to do the best I could to make up for the mistakes I made before. Asterisk, but in the end, I put you in danger. This time, I have to leave you. I'm sorry, Xinu. Asterisk. His hand lost all strength and fell to the ground. Her eyes went wide, staring into the void. She screamed, no, you can't die. A strange light emitted from her body. At that moment, the clock struck midnight. The apocalypse ended. The leader thought, asterisk hit by that many missiles, and he's still breathing. He's no longer human. Asterisk. Something in front of him made him startle. A strange phenomenon was occurring before his eyes. This is... Xinu sat there, heartbroken. It's all my fault. Her eyes suddenly flared up. Her irises turned a mysterious turquoise. She slowly stood up. A strange aura surrounded her. She muttered, it's because I was too weak. I'm sorry. This time, I will protect you. The leader stammered, trembling. What is this? Wasn't this girl disabled? Countless shards of ice rose up around her. She pointed at the people who had just killed her brother and screamed. You people, unforgivable. Blocks of ice sprouted like mushrooms, rushing forward to trap them. The leader was bewildered. What on earth is going on? Was she hiding her true power all along? Impossible. No human can control ice like this. Meanwhile, at the Skynet organization, a hand was typing on a keyboard, gathering data. Xiao said, Sister Yun confirmed. The girl continued looking at the map screen before her. Right below us. The primordial reaction is right here. A massive energy source just erupted. Identified as Absolute Zero, an S-class evolution form. Xiao Yun crossed her arms. An S rank has appeared already? Xiao, munching on a carrot, looked confused. That's good news, but I don't know why the primordial reaction suddenly disappeared. Their airship gradually descended. Xiao Yun said, simple. I'll go down and take a look. Xiao clutched his chest, looking down. Phew, is the S-class warrior beneath this frozen area? Elsewhere, Guan Zhonghua and Luo Yang were playing chess. Zhonghua said, Elder Luo, why has your chess style become so conservative? Luo Yang stroked his beard. Incorrect. It is you who has changed your method of provocation. Saying that, he moved a chess piece backward. Luo Yang asked, Old Guan, how do you view what has happened to this world? Zhonghua replied, the cause of the event cannot be found for the time being, but we cannot sit still and wait for death. With this conservative, passive approach of yours, there is only one path to death. He slammed a chess piece down. With the situation as it is, you're still wasting energy protecting these useless pawns. Truly foolish, Elder Luo. It seems you really have gotten old. Long, standing next to Elder Luo, grew angry. What did you say? He reached out to intervene. Do not be rude. He continued probing. I heard that recently you've recruited a large number of irregular soldiers into your army. Is this true? Zhonghua mused. Correct. In an emergency like this, who cares about regulations anymore? I'm grasping all available power in my hands. The subordinate beside him looked at his phone screen. Commander, something happened there. Zhonghua took the call, furious. What did you say? All contact lost. He shouted. A bunch of trash. You can't even handle snatching 2 kids. The subordinate helped him with his coat. Zhonghua stood up to leave, not forgetting to say a few words. Elder Luo, you've lost. I have business to attend to. Think carefully about what I said. Stop wasting resources building shelters. Hand over military command to me to deal with those zombies. This is our only way out. Luo Yang leaned back in his chair, stroking his long beard. Am I really old? But our mission is to protect the people. He looked out the window. If the city has no people, what meaning does it have? Luo Yang said to Silong, Little Chow, do you also feel I'm old and should step down? The young man straightened his back, replying seriously. No, the commander is still very young and in good health. We still need your leadership. He laughed out loud. Haha, Little Chow, you're still as straightforward as ever. I like that about you. Don't worry, as long as this old life remains, I will still abide by the mission to protect the people. All right, I won't tease you anymore. Go investigate what Old One was talking about on the phone just now. He saluted. Yes. I'll go immediately. Above on the airship, Xiao Shou called out. Sister Yin, I'll find a landing spot. Xiao Yin was standing at the door, waiting. Just lower to a moderate altitude. The boy replied instantly. Got it. Below, ice and snow still covered everything. Xiao Yin observed for a moment. Xiao Shou, that's good. This altitude works. She leaped off. She used the ice blocks as slides to move faster. She jumped continuously across the slabs of ice. Finally, she found a place to land inside. Seeing the scene before her, Xiao Yin was surprised. It turned out she had fainted from exhaustion. The Duan siblings were still lying there unconscious. Xin lay curled up, resting her head on his arm. Xiao Yin turned to look at the leader, who was completely frozen. She murmured, hard to blame her, awakening an ability and unleashing such powerful energy immediately. Xiao Shou spoke to her through the carrot-shaped walkie-talkie. Sister Yin, this is the 4th one, right? She nodded. The 4th of the 12 S-class warriors. Xiao Shou continued. I just checked. This girl doesn't seem to be the one with absolute 0 on the list. The location of their appearance is different. Xiao Yun carried Xin in her arms. Is that a problem? Since she's S-class, she must be related to the origin seed. Let's take her back first. That person will decide everything. She looked down at Xinu's unconscious face. Who's to say there aren't 2 absolute 0 users? Xiao Yun and Xiao Shou exchanged words over the radio. Xiao Shou, where did the next person on the list appear? The signal from the radio replied. Let me see. Looks like near Qin Chuan. Departing for the next location. Duan Fei lay there alone. A strange light emitted from his body. From his chest, a strange tree sprouted. A notification appeared. Asterisk level 1 authority unlocked. Activating God creation plan. Beginning evolution. Asterisk. Spiritual energy from his body began to spread outward. It penetrated through the blocks of ice, weaving through every street where zombies were running rampant. The tendrils of spiritual energy pierced through them. His body trembled slightly from a distance. The tendrils seemed to be draining the blood of the zombies. More and more zombies were being drained. They could do nothing but wither and fall apart. The energy transmitted back into his body. The tree also gradually matured, channeling the power. Streams of spiritual energy flowed continuously into his stopped heart. It slowly began to beat again. Asterisk thump thump. Thump thump. Asterisk just like normal. Luo Yang was doing paperwork in his office when there was a knock and someone entered. Silong walked in. Commander, I've investigated the matter you assigned. He replied. Give me the report. He held out a tablet. Please take a look at this first, sir. He looked at the screen showing a video clip, puzzled. This is... Silong explained. In the video, this young man was being hunted by troops sent by Commander Guan. But relying on his strength alone, he wiped out Commander Guan's subordinates. Silong recounted. In the end, he was still taken down. Following that, this place was suddenly frozen for unknown reasons. On the screen, it showed. Then the final scene of the video appeared. Countless tree roots rapidly spread out to the surroundings. The surveillance feed was cut off right after. Luo Yang saw a girl approaching in the footage. Wait, someone appeared here. The video quality was too low, making him sigh, too blurry. Can't see the face clearly. He ordered urgently. Little Chow, go to this location immediately and investigate. Find out exactly what happened, especially that young man with the strange tree roots. You must find him. Silong saluted. I'm going right now. Luo Yang leaned back, deep in thought. What exactly is going on with everything? That old man's influence is growing by the day. In the end, my own strength is limited. This world needs a hero. Scene shift to the zombies at night. Duan Fei lay amidst the ice, roots pouring out from his body. The evolutionary roots appeared on Duan Fei's chest. Notifications flashed continuously as he slowly opened his eyes to the bright moon in the sky. Harvested 999 evolution points. Asterisk, initiating automatic distribution of evolution points. God creation plan activation complete. Evolution finished. Asterisk. He held up his hands. What happened? I'm still alive? I was clearly tricked while protecting XINU. Duan Fei snapped awake, sitting up and shouting, XINU. He looked at the blocks of ice in front of him, bewildered. How did this happen? What the hell is going on here? Where did XINU go? He spins around, scanning the area, and shouts, XINU. Duan Fei runs frantically, searching everywhere. XINU, where are you? Jin Bao. He searches desperately, then suddenly realizes something. There are no signs of life in this entire area. Not even a single zombie. And what are your OS with all this ice? Did the evolutionary tree cause this? Scene shifts. Duan Fei enters the evolutionary tree system. He demands answers. Evolutionary tree, explain this. Didn't I die? Why don't I have a single scratch on me? A system panel appears. God creation plan activated. One-time resurrection opportunity used. The evolutionary tree manifests, revealing that the host has awakened an ability, leaving him stunned. God creation plan? Only one time. Duan Fei Euro's eyes widen in shock. And, oh markasim gisi ve avakinit. The system panel displays, strength, level 5. Next level requires 1,000 evolution points. Agility, level 5. Next level requires 1,000 evolution points. Detection ability, level 5. Next level requires 1,000 evolution points. Spirit power, level 3. Next level requires 5,000 evolution points. Movement technique complete. Reboot requires 10,000 evolution points. Duan Fei looks at his hand, feeling his own power. My overall stats have even gone up a level. The system offers a choice. Host has awakened an ability. Promoted to E-Class Warrior. Checking awakened ability. He nods in agreement. In my past life, I had to use a gene serum just to awaken successfully. A skill that absorbs the power of others. Ability, Devour. Intensity, S-Rank. Devour ability? An E-Rank skill? I never heard of this skill in my previous life. I didn't even have a cat-like agility skill back then. Duan Fei stares at his hand, now surging with new power. Character levels can be raised later, but the rank of an ability is fixed from the start. The rank of the ability determines the maximum potential of the power. I can't believe in this life. I'm the first to awaken, and it's an S-Rank ability to boot. Duan Fei suddenly recalls the past. Wait, the first awakener? Back then, XINU also reacted to ice. Could this ice surrounding me be XINU's ability? The probability is very high. He touches the system panel, calculating. I don't see XINU's body nearby. It's very likely she's still alive. Thinking about it here won't help. I need to gather information about the time I was in a coma. Scene shifts back to reality. Exiting the evolutionary tree. Duan Fei picks up his cross pendant. His face turns grim. XINU's disappearance. It's highly likely related to the military. Duan Fei touches a block of ice containing an old acquaintance. Instantly, the ice shatters into pieces. He raises his hand, his gaze sharp as a blade. Guan, I will make you pay for this. Scene shifts to a guard yawning on duty. A car drives up, and a familiar voice rings out. Hey, stand guard properly. The soldier immediately snaps to attention. Chao Silong warns him, sorry, just stay sharp. We're in a critical phase of building the refuge. If zombies get close, we're in big trouble. The soldier salutes. Yes, sir. I'll pay attention. Zhonghua stands on high ground with a subordinate, observing. Commander Guan, that Chao Silong guy is investigating you. Zhonghua looks thoughtful. It seems Elder Luo won't hand over military power quietly. You said it would be dangerous for Chao Silong to go out there. He probably won't be coming back, right? Scene shifts to a building. Current time, 5:30 a.m. Duan Fei tilts his head back, eyes closed, feeling the water from a shower. He turns off the tap. Time to plan my next move. His expression hardens. The best way to infiltrate the military is to head to the refuge. I met Siaka's group back then. They should be there too. I'll head to the refuge first. While I search for XINU, I can also dig up some dirt on that bastard Guan. If the target is the military, I can't be reckless. According to the evolutionary tree, the God creation plan is a one-time shot. I cannot afford any mistakes in my next actions. Time passes, morning breaks. Duan Fei stands atop a building. 6 o'clock. Time to move. Holding a photo in his hand, he whispers, "Excienu." Duan Fei's face is cold and determined. "Wait for me. No matter where you are, I will find you." The desolate, ruined cityscape reveals a horrific scene of destruction. Duan Fei dashes past zombies, slicing them cleanly. Devour activation failed. Devour activation failed. His hand glows with purple energy. Devour activation failed. Duan Fei looks at his hand, puzzled. Why? Why can't I activate this ability? What exactly am I doing wrong? Suddenly, he spots something. A massive, mutated zombie stands before him, radiating bloodlust. It roars, "Gah!" It charges. Can't be late. Or, I'll lose my attendance bonus. The system panel pops up. Zombie level, awakened F rank. The zombie slams its giant fist down, shattering the ground. Duan Fei keeps his distance, analyzing. Looking at that skin color and strength, it must be the Berserk ability. Pretty common. It starts sprinting toward him. Even though Berserk is common, it's still a brutal offensive ability. They exchange blows rapidly, impacts echoing continuously. Duan Fei catches its giant arm. Seems like you're pretty confident in your strength. He uses leverage to pull the zombie's arms toward him, making it howl in pain. Duan Fei kicks out with both feet. Using its arms as a pivot, he flips over. He channels his strength and stomps straight into the zombie's face. Duan Fei leaps high to gain momentum, flying back down for another strike. His eyes are filled with killing intent, sparking with blue lightning. It's over. Suddenly, Duan Fei's hand pauses. Wait, maybe I can. He extends his hand, radiating power. Activate Devour. He places his hand on the zombie's body and begins to drain its power. Before, I was using it on unawakened zombies. I wonder what happens when I use it on an awakened one. Suddenly, a beam of energy shoots into the sky, reacting to his skill. Light explodes outward. Duan Fei looks stunned. Just as I thought, it works. His hand devours the power, causing the zombie to shriek in agony. Energy begins to coalesce. The system announces, "Devour complete." Decomposing energy. Duan Fei looks up at the streams of power merging together. The energy source begins to dive down, startling him. A massive torrent of power flies straight into his body. Duan Fei shouts, "Wadairo, what is happening?" The energy fully integrates into his body. He touches his chest. Devour complete. Checking results. He looks at the system panel. Duan Fei studies the stream of notifications, calculating. The life energy of the devoured target is used to heal me. The gene core in the target's body. Since I've already awakened, specifically, the entire gene core was absorbed by the evolutionary tree. This energy is a 1% fragment of the Berserk energy. Reviewing previous skills. The blue and yellow energies are easy to understand. But this red energy, let's check it first. A new skill appears. Skill, Devour Count Berserk. Missing 99% to activate ability. Duan Fei is shocked. What? I can activate other abilities too? He stares blankly at the skill board, dumbfounded. In my memory, very few people in the previous world could awaken dual abilities, and never more than 2. Duan Fei realizes the potential of his power. But now, if I just collect enough abilities and fragments, I can use multiple skills. Added to my gene binding, my upper limit will be infinite. Suddenly, his face freezes. Duan Fei looks ahead as something bursts from the ground. Earthquake. A monster erupts from the earth. A gigantic mutant beast appears. Duan Fei is anxious. That thing is way too big. His eyes bulge. Duan Fei scans the surroundings. There's still a massive energy source heading this way nearby. Where is it? He gapes, looking up at the sky. A pillar of light slams down from the heavens. Amidst the dust and smoke, he slowly opens his eyes. Duan Fei is stunned. You are. A giant Jin Bao appears. Jin Bao. He rejoices. Is it really you, Jin Bao? You're still alive. The dog and the beast face off, growling at each other. In front of them is a mutant beast with a massive body, much larger than Jin Bao. Yet, Jin Bao shows no fear. It growls back. Duan Fei stands among the zombies, looking happily at Jin Bao. I can't believe you survived, Jin Bao. What a surprise. He raises a hand to his face, eyes determined. Now isn't the time to catch up. Move aside. Let me handle this beast first. Duan Fei calls out. Turns out, Jin Bao is behind him, biting his hood, signaling him not to go. He turns around in surprise. What? You want to solo it? Jinbao nods. Duan Fei asks gently, "Are you sure? It's much bigger than you." Jinbao wags its tail. "No fear." Meanwhile, the mutant beast is losing patience. Unable to hold back, it charges furiously. Its razor-sharp teeth and claws shatter the surrounding rocks. Duan Fei stops trying to interfere. He turns to discuss with Jinbao. It seems a bit impatient. "All right then, I leave it to you." Jinbao's eyes glow red. The tiny Jinbao suddenly transforms, looking majestic. Red eyes, muscular body. Wings sprout from Jinbao's back. Feathers fly everywhere. Jinbao grows larger and larger, letting out a deafening roar. It doesn't look any weaker than the mutant beast now. Duan Fei is shocked. His jaw drops as he thinks. Jinbao awakened an ability too? Not keeping him waiting, Jinbao charges without hesitation. It quickly turns the tide, pinning the beast to the ground. It bites down hard on the flesh of the enemy's back with all its might. However, this mutant beast is also very strong. Jinbao is easily thrown off, accompanied by loud roars. Luckily, Jinbao is quick-witted and flaps its wings to fly into the sky. The beast tracks it with its eyes. Counterattack. From high above, Jinbao dives like a bullet. With a ferocious face and claws extended, it looks ready to devour the enemy whole. Jinbao lands powerful punches on the beast's body. The beast's eyes turn even more vicious. The beast turns its back, swinging its tail back and forth to attack Jinbao. Jinbao opens its mouth wide. It aims straight for the enemy's tail and bites. Next, Jinbao digs its sharp claws into the beast for leverage. Using the momentum, Jinbao pulls with all its strength, ripping the tail right off. The beast's entire body trembles in agony. In extreme pain and rage, the beast turns around, mouth gaping, ready to retaliate. But in the end, it loses. Jinbao stomps hard on its head, pinning it to the ground. The paw stays planted, but suddenly, red smoke begins to rise. Jinbao has transformed again, different from before. Its body is now wreathed in flames. The beast no longer has the strength to resist. Pinned by Jinbao's foot on its head and back, it can only lie there and take it. Suddenly, Jinbao tilts its head to the sky. Its neck emits a blinding light. Energy surges up to its mouth. A fireball is launched violently at the beast, engulfing everything in flames. Smoke and dust obscure all vision. Duan Fei, watching from the sidelines, exclaims in surprise, "Jinbao, did you dual evolve?" The ground where Jinbao released the energy is now caved in, forming a deep crater. Smoke rises thickly from it. The flames have died down. Jinbao stands atop the dead beast. Its body returns to its original state. Duan Fei frowns in concentration. I didn't expect Jinbao to have a dual evolution. One is transformation. The other is firepower. The transformation ability must be what kept Jinbao alive. In that frozen wasteland, Jinbao just got stronger and stronger. Looking at the beast, it looks terrifying. Covered in blood, mouth slightly open, tongue lolling out. Suddenly, Jinbao plunges its snout into the beast's body. It pulls out something glowing green. It sits down, tilts its head back, and swallows it whole. Duan Fei, standing below, slaps his thigh in praise. "Congrats, Jinbao. Dual evolution, huh? But your size is too big now. It's inconvenient for moving around. Use your ability to turn back into that puppy form from the beginning." Jinbao obeys. Its body shrinks down. In front of Duan Fei now stands a puppy with tiny wings, looking adorable. But he isn't satisfied yet. "Retract the wings too. Just be a normal puppy for now." Jinbao complies, looking a bit aggrieved. Jinbao lands gently. Its tail wags happily. Suddenly sensing something unusual, Duan Fei looks behind him. He observes, scanning the area. There seem to be quite a few life signs. Since my detection ability hit level 5, my range has expanded. He extends his detection range further. He sees a group of people fighting something with guns. Found them. Survivors. Several people and a lot of zombies. Without hesitating, Duan Fei rushes toward them. "Jinbao, follow me." However, Duan Fei can't help but worry. There's gunfire over there. It might be the military. Meanwhile, Xiao Yun types furiously on a holographic keyboard, reporting the situation. "Sister Yun, connection to headquarters established." A blurry screen appears. A man with a sharp gaze looks through, his voice stern. "What is the progress?" Xiao Yun stands opposite, looking exhausted. "Missions were successful, but we encountered an unexpected situation to report. We searched based on the origin strain reaction. By the time we arrived, the origin strain signal had vanished. Unexpectedly, we found an S-class warrior. Her ability is absolute 0. but she isn't on the list. She thinks of the image of XINU wearing an oxygen mask. I took the liberty of bringing her back, requesting instructions on how to proceed. The man on the screen listens, then replies coldly. An off-list S-class, secondary to the origin strain location. He immediately orders Xiao Yun, bring that girl back to headquarters immediately. She rests a hand on her hip. The screen cuts off. Xiao Yun commands, Si Chio, turn the ship around. Little Shui, the small girl, whispers. After we get back, can Sister Yun take me to buy carrots? Xiao Yun indulges her. Sure. In another location, for unknown reasons, a military squad is under extreme tension. Dust fills the air. Gunfire is relentless. We absolutely cannot let them break through the defensive line. Before them, hordes of zombies surge forward. Why are there so many zombies? Our firepower can't handle them. De Jin grits his teeth and yells at Chao Silong beside him. Chao Silong, you aren't at HQ protecting Commander Luo? What are you doing running out here? Chao Silong grimaces. I came out on a mission, but got blocked by the commander. He tampered with my car, so I got stuck here for a while. Then I found you guys. Wait, why are you here? De Jin looks at the scientist behind him and explains, I don't know either. I was escorting the scientists back to the refuge. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning from the sky destroyed our vehicle. We had no choice but to abandon the car and run. He emphasizes angrily, Chao Silong, the people behind us are crucial scientists. They're the future of humanity. But we are in a very dangerous situation right now. We're low on ammo. I'll go up and provide cover. You lead the squad and get the scientists to safety, then wait for backup. Hearing this, Chao Silong rejects the plan. What are you saying? How can you stop this zombie horde alone? You'll die. De Jin glances at him. Cut the crap. Don't forget, I'm the champion of the wrestling team. Suddenly, a giant zombie charges in. The soldiers panic. Giant zombie ahead, requesting backup. De Jin rushes forward without hesitation. I'm leaving them to you, Chao Silong. Chao Silong shouts helplessly. De Jin, what are you doing? De Jin charges, ordering the soldiers. All of you retreat. Fall back and protect the scientists. I'll handle this. One soldier, confused, responds, Captain, but you... De Jin roars in fury. Save your breath. That is an order. Chao Silong sees the critical situation. Damn it. Everyone retreat. Tighten the formation, conserve ammo, and protect the scientists as we pull back. De Jin fights the zombies alone. He isn't flustered. He clenches his fists. Oof. Come on, you animals. I'll show you humans aren't to be messed with. His punch lands like a hammer on a zombie's face, obliterating its head. His face shows satisfaction. Nothing beats the feeling of punching with bare hands. The zombies keep coming. No sign of stopping. Arg. Facing the horde, De Jin shows no fear. Chao Silong, get the scientists out of here. I'll hold the line. Chao Silong responds in shock. I got it, De Jin. You have to hold on. Once they're safe, I'm coming back for you. Chao Silong widens his eyes, impressed. I can't believe De Jin is holding back so many zombies with his bare hands. He turns to the group. Everyone, move out quickly. You too, take care of your professor. The black-haired male scientist responds, Roger. Bai Tao urges hurriedly, Professor, stop looking. It's dangerous. Suddenly, a figure flies past Chao Silong. It's De Jin. He's heavily injured, clothes tattered. Chao Silong screams, De Jin, are you okay? At that moment, a massive, muscular, vicious zombie appears behind Chao Silong and the professor. It grunts. Everyone turns in terror. Only Professor Jiang remains expressionless. It's huge. Bai Tao trembles. Professor, now is not the time to take notes. The zombie lunges at them with lightning speed. Too fast, too dangerous. Chao Silong can't react in time. Suddenly, a foot wearing a familiar shoe flies into the frame. The wall behind the group explodes into fragments. It's Duan Fei and Jin Bao, charging furiously at the zombie. With incomprehensible power and speed, the zombie's body is completely obliterated in an instant. Jin Bao obediently climbs onto Duan Fei's shoulder and sits down. Duan Fei's system displays a notification. System notification obtained a fragment of the Berserk ability. Witnessing this scene, Silong couldn't stop the thoughts racing through his mind. Who exactly is this young man? A moment later, realization struck Silong. Excuse me, is your name Duan Fei? Duan Fei remained on high alert, furrowing his brows in suspicion. How do you know my name? Duan Fei leaped down from the corpse of the zombie, landing right next to Silong. I'll be straight with you, Silong said. I have something I need to ask. Before he could finish, Duan Fei cut him off, his gaze sharp as a blade. Answer my question first. Is your commander named Guan Zhonghua? Hearing that name, Long immediately retorted, "No, our commander is Commander Luo." He introduced himself properly. "My name is Long. Our leader is Commander Luo Yang. We are aware that the troubles you're currently facing are the work of Commander Wan, and we also know exactly why you came here." Duan Fei wanted to verify one more time to be absolutely sure. "Your commander is Luo Yang?" He thought to himself, "In my past life, after the apocalypse broke out, humanity fell into endless chaos. But this old general never gave up on saving people. From a tiny shelter in the beginning, to the final federal base. He used the last embers of his life to secure a final piece of land for humanity, leaving behind hope for the continuation of our species, Frenzied zombies began to approach. Long gripped his pistol tightly with both hands, firing straight at the zombie in front of him. "After Commander Luo heard about your situation, he expressed a strong desire to meet you. We hope you'll return to the shelter with us." But right then, something distracted Duan Fei. He shifted his gaze and interrupted, "Wait." Bolts of lightning crackled, followed by deafening explosions. Smoke and fire filled the air. Emerging from the thick smoke was a muscular zombie, hair covering half its face. Its palms were wreathed in crackling electricity. The three scientists had moved up to assess the situation. In the distance, Long kept his gun trained on a massive zombie. Duan Fei spoke calmly, "You guys step back. Leave this to me." Long was taken aback. "By yourself? That's too dangerous." Duan Fei turned his back to them, glancing over his shoulder with a reassuring look. "Don't worry, I'll be fine. Go check on the wounded. He needs his injuries treated immediately." Long didn't want to leave, but he had no choice. He lowered his head, resigning himself to the order. I understand. I'll leave this to you." As Duan Fei warmed up his limbs, he mentally commanded, "Jin Bao, you go over there too. Protect them from the shadows, but don't reveal yourself unless necessary. Don't expose your identity. If you do, you won't be allowed into the shelter." Jin Bao let out a sad whimper. With everything going according to plan, Duan Fei gripped his blade, analyzing the situation. Only that electric guy is an awakened zombie. The rest are just basic level. There's no need to waste my devour ability on them. The leader zombie raised its hand, signaling the horde of basic zombies to charge forward. "Grrrah." Duan Fei frowned, puzzled. What's going on? Can that zombie command the others? He unleashed a flurry of slashes, instantly taking down the approaching zombies. Yet, he couldn't stop questioning himself. Am I overthinking it? At this point in the timeline, zombies with leadership abilities shouldn't exist yet. Before he could react, a bolt of electricity shot out from nowhere. It moved incredibly fast, but luckily, Duan Fei managed to dodge just in time. It turned out to be an attack from the leader zombie. Its actions left Duan Fei stunned. Did he just try to ambush me? He understands how to use the basic zombies as a distraction to split my attention. Cold sweat dripped down his face. He deduced. Has he developed intelligence? The rate of evolution is accelerating much faster than in my memories. If this keeps up, Lord-class monsters and Beast Kings will appear very soon. Could all of this be related to my rebirth? A weak voice called out, "It's him." Long, standing nearby, asked, "Jian, are you okay?" Jian, his arm bandaged, looked grim as he recounted, "That bolt of lightning destroyed our vehicle." "It was that zombie's doing." Bai Tao, standing beside him, warned, "Don't move around too much. We've only done basic first aid." Jian struggled to lift his head, asking weakly, "Why is he fighting alone?" Long replied, "He is our savior. Besides, there's nothing we can do to help." Watching Duan Fei fight the zombie with everything he had, Long continued, "He is the hero that Commander Luo wants to recruit." The electric zombie went berserk, raising its hands to the sky to summon more power, screaming wildly. So underhanded, he refused to face Duan Fei head-on. Instead, he used a dirty trick. He fired lightning at the ceiling, causing debris to explode outward. The rubble rained down toward Bai Tao, causing her to scream in helplessness. Jin Bao quickly turned his head, his eyes filled with concern. The falling debris kicked up a massive cloud of dust. Hidden within the haze, a familiar pair of black wings emerged. Bai Tao raised her arms to shield herself. As the dust settled, she peeked out to look around. Long immediately turned to check on them. "Is everyone unhurt?" Bai Tao replied, "No, we're fine." Jin Bao's wings had already faded away. Suddenly, she felt something didn't add up. She looked toward Jin Bao. "Just now, I thought I saw a big dog sprout giant black wings to protect us. It couldn't have been this little puppy, could it? Jin Bao's eyes went wide, his face pale and trembling. Jin Bao remembered Duan Fei's warning and panicked. If I get caught, I won't be able to enter the shelter. Jin Bao started acting. He rolled on the ground, playing the innocent puppy. Bai Tao watched him, speechless. Even though Duan Fei was focused on the fight, he hadn't forgotten the safety of the others. He glanced at Jin Bao, smiled, and whispered, "That little rascal." Then Duan Fei walked straight toward the zombie, telling himself, "Let's finish this side first." The electricity around the zombie suddenly turned red. It roared furiously, its power surging. Duan Fei immediately halted his steps. At that moment, a massive, obese zombie suddenly appeared behind the electric one. Duan Fei's expression grew even more confused. He can command awakened zombies too? The fat zombie mumbled while hugging a huge boulder. "I'll start my diet tomorrow." Anticipating the zombie's next move, Duan Fei quickly turned to warn the others, "Get down now." The angry zombie hurled the boulder forward with tremendous force. Thinking fast, Duan Fei used the boulder as a stepping stone. He leaped onto it and launched himself closer to the zombie. Damn it! He swung his blade, carving several deep cuts that made the zombie howl in pain. He thought, so it's not just me evolving. The zombies are constantly getting stronger too. Asterisk power. I need more power. I need the strength to crush these zombies. Asterisk. Under the fierce assault, the zombie was slammed hard into the wall behind it. Duan Fei remained lost in thought. I need power to protect my little sister. Chaos reigned. The people nearby were affected by the shockwaves. Bai Tao was now covered in dust and soot. Silong could only stare in awe. Is he even human? Professor Jiang, ever the dedicated scientist, crossed his arms and remarked, "I need to dissect this young man." Down below, Jin Bao wagged his tail happily, his eyes brimming with pride. Asterisk, woof woof. So proud. Asterisk. Duan Fei charged in, striking the fat zombie's head. System notification. Devour ability activated. He received a new skill. Obtained 1% of the Berserk ability fragment. After dealing with the fat one, he strode confidently toward the leader zombie. Power surged violently in his hands. "You're next." Enraged, the zombie went even crazier than before. It screamed, the electricity in its eyes glowing blindingly bright. Gore! It unleashed a barrage of lightning bolts at Duan Fei. With his abilities, these bolts were nothing to Duan Fei. He effortlessly dodged the attacks. Eat this. Duan Fei moved like a phantom, closing the distance and catching the zombie off guard. He thrust his hand into its face. System notification. Devour ability activated. The electric zombie took the hit, its entire body bursting into flames. It could only scream in agony. AR. Duan Fei withdrew his hand. Flames still wreathed his fist. The system notification chimed. Asterisk absorbed electricity. Unlocked 1% of lightning ability. Asterisk. Jin Bao ran over, wagging his tail in joy. Seeing the ferocious zombie destroyed, everyone cheered. We won. We're saved. Suddenly, a shout grabbed Duan Fei's attention. He turned to look. Professor, look at this. Shaolin held a blue crystal in his hand and said, Professor, look, there's this type of crystal here, too. Kenshin took in his hand. Just like the result from my previous research. After yesterday, these strange crystals have started appearing inside zombie bodies. Duan Fei looked at him with mild surprise. He just survived a life-or-death situation, yet he immediately switched into work mode. Kenshin suddenly called out, Hello there. Duan Fei was startled. Kenshin extended his hand. Hello, I am Jiang Tianxin, a scientist. Thank you for stepping in to help us. Hearing the name, Duan Fei was shook. Asterisk what? Jiang Tianxin? This man is the greatest scientist from my past life. Asterisk. He stared at the old man for a long time, confusing the professor. Duan Fei thought, Asterisk, I was too insignificant in my past life. I only heard of big shots like him. I never actually met them. Asterisk. He recalled information from his previous life. Professor Jiang and his research team worked tirelessly, finally extracting genetic energy from the gene nucleus. They created the gene serum that allowed a massive number of ordinary people to awaken, helping humanity survive that incredibly dark era. He mused, Asterisk, because of him, humanity gained the power to fight back against the zombies. And now, he's standing right in front of me. Asterisk. Seeing him distracted, the professor spoke up. What's wrong, young man? Don't want to shake an old man's hand. Duan Fei immediately reached out with both hands to grasp it. He replied, I apologize. I was distracted just now. I'm just too excited to meet you. Tianxin was surprised. Oh, have you heard of me before? As they were chatting, Shaolin interrupted. Professor, we have a problem. Come here for a second. Tianxin responded. Understood. Young man, I have to get back to work. Let's talk more when we have time. I'm very interested in you. He ran over to his assistant. What happened? The assistant said, Look. Xilong supported De Jian as they approached Duan Fei. Little brother Duan. He forced a smile. Thank you for saving us. Duan Fei turned and replied. No need to be polite. Your injuries are still severe. You need proper medical treatment immediately. I will find a vehicle. Xilong cut him off. No need to trouble yourself, brother Duan. I've already sent someone to find a car. Suddenly, the three of them heard arguing from the scientists. What did you say? How is that possible? Professor Jiang looked serious. This is impossible. Can my research be wrong? Every zombie should have a crystal inside its body. Why doesn't this electric one have it? Hearing this, Bai Tao went to check the other corpse. Professor, this giant zombie doesn't have a crystal either. Tianxin shouted in panic. That one neither? He scratched his head, opening his notebook. It seems my research is still insufficient. The laws behind this need further investigation. And here I thought I was close to cracking the energy source hidden within these crystals. Duan Fei thought to himself. So Professor Jiang has already started researching gene nuclei? The nuclei in those 3 mutated zombies were devoured by me, so they can't. I can't let my actions slow down Professor Jiang's research. I have to help him as much as possible without revealing my rebirth. Thinking this, Duan Fei stepped forward. Professor Jiang, what are you all discussing? The professor held up the glowing stone. It's this thing. I need to clarify how it's produced and what it does, but now I've hit a snag. It's possible my previous investigation was flawed. Duan Fei pointed at the stone. Are you talking about the gene nucleus? The professor immediately responded. Gene nucleus? Is that what you call this thing? Duan Fei awkwardly waved his hands to explain. Professor Jiang, don't misunderstand. That's just a name I came up with randomly. I've seen this thing before. I actually gained my superpowers after eating one. The professor was hit with one shock after another. What? You ate it directly? Do you know how dangerous that is? It contains a massive amount of the zombie virus. Duan Fei quickly replied. That may be true, and I did feel excruciating pain at the time. But after the pain passed, what I got was an evolutionary transformation. The professor looked at the stone in his hand, amazed. That's incredible. That amount of virus didn't turn you into a zombie? Was it suppressed by something? This gene nucleus indeed contains 30% energy that humans can absorb, but the remaining 70% is virusero. Consuming it directly is too dangerous. He continued rambling. If we could remove that 70% virus, or extract the 30% genetic energy, it would be much safer. Duan Fei smiled inwardly. As expected of Professor Jiang. I just said a few simple sentences, and he deduced so much. He continued explaining, the zombies you couldn't find nuclei in just now. It's possible my ability destroyed them, but I could sense that gene nuclei definitely existed in their bodies. Your research isn't wrong, Professor. The professor rubbed his chin. So that's how it is. Young man, you know a lot. Are you a scientist too? Duan Fei laughed awkwardly. No, I'm just an ordinary student. The professor turned to ask Xilong. Little Chow, when will we reach the shelter? I'm anxious to start my experiments. Xilong replied enthusiastically. Soon. We found a suitable vehicle. A while later, the vehicle arrived. Duan Fei followed the convoy to the base. Xilong sat in the driver's seat and asked quietly, Brother Duan, if I may be so bold as to ask, you said earlier that you used a gene nucleus to get your superpowers? Duan Fei replied, That's correct. Xilong hesitated slightly. There's a group in the military who seem to have gained abilities without using nuclei. But if I use a gene nucleus, will I be able to gain powerful strength? Duan Fei understood what he wanted and warned him. Those people are the first batch of awakened. Using a gene nucleus carries certain risks. Failure means turning into a zombie. It's best to wait until Professor Jiang refines a pure gene serum before considering it. Xilong quickly responded, Is that so? Sorry for asking such a strange question. I believe that day will come soon. He turned his head toward Xilong. If the zombie's evolution speed is accelerating, then I need to make the gene serum appear sooner. Duan Fei thought. His complexion isn't great. Is awakening that urgent for him? Xilong furrowed his brows, gripping the steering wheel tightly. Duan Fei continued. Commander Guan has secretly gathered a large number of awakened soldiers. Meanwhile, Commander Luo has put all his energy into the shelter. I'm afraid Commander Luo will eventually be. Long recalled the scene from back then and said, I want to become strong like you, to help him stop Commander Guan's evil claws. Rest assured, Commander Luo won't lose to a guy like Guan. I have absolute faith. Duan Fei thought, asterisk in my past life, there was basically no information on this Guan guy. That proves he definitely lost to Luo Yang. I'm just making that day come a little earlier. Asterisk. Jin Bao's eyes went wide. Woof. Long sighed with emotion. Commander Luo really didn't judge you wrongly. He's looking forward to meeting you. Duan Fei looked relaxed. I also really want to meet the old gentleman. Jin Bao relaxed as well. The car arrived at the destination. We're here. This is the shelter we are building. The group of scientists was surprised. It's only been a few days, yet the progress is so fast. Duan Fei poked his head out the window, surprised. Truly admirable. Commander Luo is amazing. The vehicle moved to the entrance gate. A soldier standing guard saw Long's car and opened the gate. Duan Fei observed his surroundings. His system displayed information. Asterisk bird type ability, rank F. The vast majority of Awakened chose to follow Commander Guan. Asterisk. Long introduced. The small portion that remained was asked by Commander Luo to come here and help with construction. He braked the car. All right, we get off here. Duan Fei and Jin Bao got out of the car together. Suddenly, an urgent voice shouted, Move! Move! Dangerous! Ling San was riding a motorcycle, clearly struggling with the controls. I can't control it. Ling San panicked. Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Just as the bike was about to hit Duan Fei, he stopped it effortlessly with one hand. She screamed. He observed calmly. Duan Fei looked up and caught her in his arms just in time. He asked, Are you okay? Ling San jumped down to the ground. Sorry. I almost crashed into you. Duan Fei stammered. No problem. Long appeared and said, Ling San, why are you here? She looked at Long in fright. Captain C, so you're still alive. Commander Luo couldn't contact you for ages and thought you sacrificed yourself for the mission. Long was clearly used to this. He walked over and lightly chopped her on the head. Answer my question properly. Ling San clutched her head, crying out, Ouch, that hurts. A group of lucky survivors will be arriving soon. I came ahead to wait for them. Long looked toward the group. First, arrange for medical staff to treat Jian and guide these scientists to the research lab. Ling San saluted. Long gave special instructions to Duan Fei. Brother Duan, I'm going to report the situation to Commander Luo first. You go get checked out with the survivors, then get some rest. I'll quickly arrange a meeting between you and Commander Luo. Duan Fei nodded. Long's face turned serious as he warned, one more thing. Commander Guan's influence here is massive. You two already have bad blood. You must be absolutely careful. Ling San stood, waving at the buses in the distance. Over here. Long was still worried. Don't make any moves yet. Wait until after you meet Commander Luo to decide.